Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who are here physically and those watching from home, welcome to the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee for this Friday, September 2024. This is the annual meeting of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. And so, Madam Clerk, if you'd please call the roll. Linda Smith.
You want me to vote, correct?
Yes, please.
Linda Green or Linda Smith?
Linda Smith is preferable, yeah.
Oh.
Not at all. You got the first name?
Linda Smith.
Present.
Dean Burke.
Here.
DJ Wilkins. Darnell Singh. And Mayor Jason Wynn.
Present. Does that provide us with a quorum? Very good. Okay, so this is the time for public comment. Any members of the public that wish to address the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee certainly may do so. I don't see anyone here in the audience that is queuing up, but certainly have the right to do so. Madam Clerk, do you see anybody online for public comment? I'll declare the public comment period closed, and now we'll move to approval of the September 22, 2023 Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting minutes. If you take a quick look at that, it starts on page 2 of our packet today, and take a quick glance if you haven't done so already. It basically contains all of the grant proposal presentations from last year. I had the opportunity to review this when it came to council, so I'm familiar with the contents, but those of you who have a chance to take a look, if you're satisfied that there are no corrections to be made, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 22, 2023?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Member Burke and seconded by Member Smith that we approve the September 2023 Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The minutes have been approved. We now have a brief overview from our City Attorney, Ms. Wachter, on the Open Public Meetings Act.
Good morning, Chair Whalen and members of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. I'm Heidi Wachter. I'm the City Attorney for the City of Lakewood. My client is the city exclusively, and I provide advice as requested and desired. I don't know whether this was desired, but it was requested. You as a public board are obligated to do training once every 4 years, and I believe that all of you are up to date on your training, so I thought I'd just touch on a couple of main points. One, I was actually speaking with your chair just a few minutes before the meeting started about different ways cities do this process. And what I would tell you is what I look at is whether the process as we do it is compliant. I believe that it is. Whether you would want to do other changes, I would have to look at if ever requested, but it's not to say that other cities aren't doing things correctly. They have their own separate legal advice. But this process is subject to open government. You're using taxpayer dollars, and therefore, when you choose how those taxpayer dollars are going to be used, the public has a right to see that process and know what's going on. Similarly, the records that are created are open to the public. There's not some section of the minutes that's going to be redacted or cleaned out. The only way in Washington that you can keep something that's public away from the public is pursuant to a legal statute or something that says this is not subject to public. So for example, with the Open Public Meetings Act, you have to have an executive session to take yourself out of that public arena and hold your meeting, and it must be based on the law. For example, if you were going to purchase property, public knowledge of the price you were willing to pay would be something that would hurt the city because it would drive the price up, right? So there's an exemption for that. If you don't find an exemption, you don't have a basis for doing things outside the public view. Same thing is true with public documents. And I have talked before about public documents. You want to make sure that any of the materials that you're using here are either already part of what we keep here at the city. If you get a separate email, that's something that you're considering, please go ahead and relay that back to the city so that we have the full history. If it's on your personal device, we do run into situations where we might have to look at your personal device if asked for documents that are held there. The only other piece I wanted to share, I thought, okay, what's new that I could talk about? There's two things. One is there was a law that was passed in the wake of the COVID situation. In the olden times, we didn't necessarily have to provide remote comment. And we do that now, and it's written oddly. We don't have to require public comment, but if somebody says, I can't get to your meeting and I'd like to do remote comment, we would then have to provide it. So the way that the city does that with both our city council meetings and here as well is we provide the remote access to anyone who wants to access the meeting remotely, and it just takes care of the issue that way. So all of our meetings, committees, boards, the council are accessible remotely now. Second thing is there was a case that came out of the Yakima School District that has to do with public records, and it went up to the Court of Appeals. It was a little bit unhappy in terms of how far the court went in looking at cities' ability to comply with the Public Records Act. They literally looked at the Yakima School District's budget to see how much resource was being allocated to comply with public records. And that I say that to you just to give you an idea of the legislators' perspectives as well as what the courts are going to say if we ever get into a situation where you're hoping that we might not have to give a document. We are almost always going to be on the side of give out every document that could possibly be responsive. So that's really the only news that's going on with public records. If when you saw the agenda, you were like, oh, I can't wait to hear from Heidi. I hope she will cover X. Let me know what X is, and I would be happy to address it if you have any questions or concerns. I will also tell you that there are resources in the Municipal Research Services Center. It's a website. You can mill around there to your heart's content. They have plenty of stuff on open government, including trainings, and the Attorney General's office. And if you need these resources, you're welcome to contact me or your staff that are helping you through this process. They have videos that you can watch. So very quick, very easy, covers all the points. Is there anything you were hoping that I would cover today? Did this already go longer than you would hope?
No. All very good information.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And off to the races.
Very good. You don't want to stay for the entirety of the day just for fun?
I feel compelled to be elsewhere, but I will have thoughts through the day that I wish that I was here with you. It's actually, in all seriousness, it really is an important function for the city because drawing people to the city for our events, for the things we're doing out in the park and in downtown really, I think, adds to the vibrance of the city. And I think the LTAC makes a lot of that possible. So no, I won't be here all day, but I think what you're doing is really important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, very good. Next, we have a brief overview of the 2023 grants status and fund balance with our Assistant Finance Director, Dana Kaplan.
Good morning. Our current balance projected at 12/31/2024 is $589,359. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. Of that, $1,324,752 is available for tourism promotion, acquisition of tourism-related facilities, or operation of tourism-related facilities. The remaining $2,264,607 is reserved for acquisition, construction, expansion, marketing, and management of convention facilities. And that also includes the McGavick Center reduction of the 101. And lastly, our current request for this year is $1,146,000.
Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
How many more years do we have
on this capital
For the McGavick Center?
for the McGavick Center.
It goes through 2027, but our last payment is June of 2026.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Burke? Anything else? Ms. Kaplan on that? So that information other than depicted on the sheet here, there's nothing else in the meeting minutes packet about the 2024 monies available? I think that was mostly the previous grant award information. Okay. Well, then I think we are going to be ready. It is 7 minutes to 9, 8:53. The first presentation starts at 9 with grave concerns. And so we'll just go ahead and go off the record just for a moment until they arrive, and then we'll power back on. So we'll be in recess for, does it say we're on recording? Very good. Well, welcome back everyone. After our brief recess, we have at the 9 o'clock hour, our first presenter, and that is Grave Concerns Association. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Laurel Lemke, the chair of the Grave Concerns Association. And we have been pleased to have been funded the last 2 years, which has been able to let us do publicity, and wanted to give you a little highlights about some things we've done and about our requests for next year. So again, our mission is we're restoring the Western State Hospital Cemetery, and our vision is to dignify the area, and we build awareness and respect for persons living with mental health challenges. A lot of times when we have activities, it's an opportunity for people to open up and share about family members. You want this down a little bit? Okay.
Perfect.
And so we started in the year 2000, and at that time, the cemetery was really overgrown. You couldn't see anything, and we were just trying to make it prettier. In the year 2004, we went to state legislators and were able to pass a bill so that the names could be identified there and other cemeteries in our state. We can go to the next one. So I think if you're all familiar, this is in Fort Silicon Park, and you can see where the cemetery is. And it's across from the Red Barns, and we're actually surrounded on 3 sides by the dog park. And this is actually from work that was done, a previous Lakewood lodging tax cracks in 2012. This is a map we're able to show people of the grave sites that are in the cemetery that we've been working on. And here is just, we work with volunteers, scouts, students, a lot of organizations come in and help us. And this was us within the last year with a Girl Scout troop that wanted help. And that's one of our volunteers there after they had cleaned a grave site there for Casper Stark. So some of the progress we've been able to make through 2023, the end of last year, we had a Pretty Gritty Tours documentary that's been seen over 3,300 times. We also just recently have our own YouTube channel. We have last year we have a modern meds. Our website's been updated. We also have a database where people can actually go in and search to see if there are markers there. And this last year we've had some video shorts that were produced by Pretty Gritty Tours. One which shows how we put markers in, and one that shows how we do grave grooming. And so right now there were 3,200 names, and there are about 1,000 that are left. We've just applied, and we're receiving a capital grant from the state. It's not that, well, the state historic organization, from the capital grant from the state. And so other things we have a new website. We have had grave grooming and marker installations during Parks Appreciation Day, Make a Difference Day, Compassion Weekend. We try to do them once a month during from April to October. We've been at a trick or treat event. We go to holiday bazaars. We get donations that help us with our organization. We've been at 2 conferences. We've been at 2 conferences in Yakima, and we have volunteers across Washington State. And at this upcoming Pretty Gritty Tours does a tour of the cemetery, of the park after dark, a Latin tour. We'll be greeting people and serving cider. So one of the things last year, we'd asked for $5,000 for a website, and it was donated to us. So we've been using that money instead. We've just recently working with a marketing consultant who is helping us develop some more programming, and we'll have some giveaways that we're going to be able to give the people by the end of this year. So anyway, this is a year we're trying to complete putting the remaining 1,000 markers. And in addition to putting in the markers that are through the markers we're going to get from the government from buying the 12 by 12 markers, we're going to be getting some additional markers that are military markers. And there's a lot of interest in that. We've been working with somebody from Spokane who's with cemeteries. And so we want to put on a good event next fall. And so that's one of the reasons why we're asking for additional monies this year so that we can put on a good event when we put in the additional markers. And one thing is if we've already put in a marker, we can't get a military marker, but we're going to be putting decals on those. And this is something we really want to involve different organizations in. We had an event before when we put in 3 markers, and that involved many different military events and the government. So anyway, we're looking forward to that. So our request is to enhance the $15,000, which would be sponsoring the military event, having outreach to other groups, being able to publish and print promotional materials, covering the event cost, and expanding media. We did this year place some ads in the Suburban Times, and one of the things we're interested in doing is having some ads for the Grand Cinema. And this is a photo of our organization with Mari Levitt, who had sponsored our grant where we're celebrating. Are there any questions?
Any questions, members? Laurel, I do have a question for you. So you may have mentioned this perhaps this year or last. All the markers have a number identifying the individual at some point, right?
Right.
The new ones especially?
Yes.
So if one was to come from a tourism-related standpoint to visit the cemetery, do we have kind of like an entrance sort of plinth or something that might have all the numbers and names listed in one spot where someone could go, oh, there's Colonel so-and-so, number 52, and then they could walk over and take a look at the site?
We don't have that per se. People can go online to the video to see that, and that is something to be working on in the future. Like I'm thinking, like what they've done at the cemetery tours with the Historical Society on South Tacoma Way, where sometimes you would go and show those outstanding people. But that is something we'd like to do in the future. Another thing that we had put some money in, and then I think we'd like to do after this event is have one of those Discovery Trail signs that would say more about it. When we had done the original map, we did highlight some of the people, but I think particularly one of the things we did participate in the African American History event that is held in the spring or in the winter. And at that event, we made a list of everybody who was African American in the cemetery. And so we'll also have a list of everybody who's military. So, a specific list people might look at. We still get calls probably at least once a month from somebody that's trying to find a family member. There was someone, and one of the things is we were able to have this calendar events at Summerfest, and that brought in tourists to us who identified that they had a family member, an ancestor that was there, and we're able to help them with that.
I'm just wondering if there was some sort of permanent structure like the Discovery Trail sign or whatever that would be of sufficient size, you could provide some historical information that'll have the same sort of look, touch, and feel that we're doing for some of the other.
Yeah. Well, one of our goals would be to get something like a Connex that could be put on the slab where we could store our tools, because it's no longer very easy to get in and out of the barn to get the tools. So we've been storing it at home and bringing them. And then if we had that we could have mural or something on the outside of it and have signage, so that we don't have that in our funding for, our request here, but that is something that we're interested in doing.
Yeah, I'd like to maybe help think about some sort of a concrete plinth like we have at some of the other locations at the entrance to the trail system that might have a really neat board done, either in some sort of permanent structure that you could actually put the numbers and the names on it so people could actually learn about it and see the names. Yeah. I'm happy to think about supplementing this, for that. If I got an idea of a bid, we could bring it back to the committee. Maybe mid-year.
Yeah, like a locator of some sort. I think that would be absolutely
brilliant. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Because it's historically interesting, and then it might give a little bit more life to that area of the park, right? Because they're doing, as long as it looks consistent with what the Parks Department is doing with the other signage, we're doing the Nisqually work collaboratively, so we want it to look similar in terms of the materials and that kind of thing, but a sense of permanence, and they would just add to the value of the.
Well, I had thought, particularly how they have put those on that one, the washroom facilities, and they put that beautiful mural on that one side. Yep. But when I talked to Mary and I said, what could we do to, store our tools? She talked about something called a Connex, and actually a year ago, we did put in a bid for like $40,000. So it would have been like 20 for the building and 20 for the, not a bid, but to get a grant from the state, but we did not get that grant.
That sounds fine. Again, I'm thinking more about signage, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to tool storage, but.
Well, I mean, it would, but it would have a dual purpose. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Very good. Next, we have presentation by the Historic Fort Steilacoom Association. Joe's here, I see. Great situation.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor Whalen, committee members, supporting staff over there. I'm Joe Lewis, Secretary of the Historic Fort Steilacoom Association. And for the year 2025, we are requesting $12,000 for promotional purposes. And we would use that money to enhance our social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram. In fact, that really now is the primary vehicle for our advertising, is social media, with Facebook especially. We continue to upgrade our website. We're supported by GoDaddy. We also have an Eventbrite membership, which has been so supportive for us, that has enabled us to have a visitor to our website click on a link that takes them to Eventbrite where they can buy tickets for tours. And that allows us to stay within the constraints of the capacity due to our historic buildings, and also, gives us planning for how many people to anticipate on a given day, how many docents we're going to need, and so forth. And then the following day, through another application, the Square application for credit card processing, we then get an analysis of sales, and that helps you in terms of inventory control. So, even though I'm old, I've come to see the benefit of some of these new ideas, okay? And so we're, continue to exploit them. We also have internet capability in our 4 buildings, because we bought a couple of Verizon hotspots And so I think we're going to upgrade those in the coming year. And of course, we do publish a digital newsletter. I was, educated by this committee in previous years that we had too much reliance on printed material, but no more. Mm-hmm. We've gone digital. In terms of events, we continue to occasionally buy supplies for some of our events. And one example would be candles. Our big Christmas event is a candlelight thing. And so we have lots of hanging candelabras in different rooms, and we have to put in new candles and so forth for that. Another way we support events is we're arranging guest speakers for the coming year, and we pay a modest honorarium for those speakers who can talk about something related to our 175th birthday. Came about in 1849, and so we're trying to educate the public on how the arrival of the Army was received by other communities. And throughout all of our activity, we collaborate with and are assisted by other heritage organizations in the local area. Particularly Fort Nisqually, for example. Many of the people who support Fort Nisqually also serve as living historians for us, reenactors for our events. And then we also take advantage of free opportunities to advertise. And one of the best examples is the Suburban Times. We can put stories in that. And in fact, we could recognize the city of Lakewood with their magazine, with a big article in here yesterday on the 175th anniversary. We appreciate that. And in July, we got a call from a writer who works for Rural Light Magazine. This is a magazine that's throughout the West. They have local editions for customers of rural electric cooperatives. And this gentleman wanted to come and tour the fort and write an article about us. And so he did in August. I took him around, and his article is going to appear in the December issue of Rural Light Magazine. The focus is in the Spanaway area, out in there, rural Pierce County is where this electric cooperative is busy. But anyway, I took him around, and since you're a captive audience, I'll share with you the two things that I like to show visitors. One of them is the copper bathtub, which is the real thing. It's you sit in it with your so your legs are exposed from the knees out. They're out in space. And and then you heat your water in the fireplace and pour it in there. And the tradition in the 19th century was that the father bathed first, then the wife, and then the children from oldest to youngest. And that's the basis of the saying, don't throw out the baby with the bath water.
Interesting.
Okay, you've all heard that. That's where it comes from, That poor baby, that water must have been cold and dirty by the time he got in there. The second thing is, that's one of my favorite artifacts. The other one is we have a 19th century bed that has rope suspension, okay? So you have the ropes tied underneath, and then you have a mattress filled with straw or feathers or whatever, And so periodically, due to the weight of the occupants, it's a double bed, it starts to sag. And so to maintain that periodically, you have to tighten the ropes. And that's the basis of the saying, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite. Okay, so I get a kick out of, sharing that with visitors. Other things, We continue to cooperate with other organizations. We allow other groups to use our space. Example, Grave Concerns. You just heard from Laurel. They meet in our building. And tomorrow, we're supporting the Friends of the Lakewood Library. We are hauling a truckload of books to the Episcopal Church that were unsold in our book sale so they can sell them in their upcoming sale in October. So we look forward to that. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to a business, a local business that's really helped me personally and our organization over the years, and that's Tacoma Trophy. Okay. I saw where the chamber recently honored Tacoma Trophy, but Judy and her staff there are wonderful, and I can't say enough good things about them. I need to tell you that this will be my last appearance before this committee. I started coming here in 2009 when Doug Richardson was the mayor, and then we had the transition to Don Anderson, and now we have Mayor Whalen. But don't worry, I'm going to be replaced by someone even more competent, and that will be someone you all know, and that's Walter Neary. He's stepping down as our president. He's going to become the secretary. And the reason is we have a wonderfully well-qualified lady who's going to become the president of our organization. And I'm not authorized to release her name yet. That'll be announced on the 20th of October at our annual meeting. But she's currently on our board and has great credentials in the heritage area. So I think, that's about all I need to say. I would like to thank you for your past support and, welcome any questions you might have.
Any questions, members? Joe, I just want to thank you on behalf of all of us here at the city for the fine work you've done over the years at Historic Fort Steilacoom. As you know, we're working hard to see if we can transfer ownership of the buildings from the state to the city, and that will give us the opportunity to pursue capital monies and capital grants to improve the buildings. I don't know if you guys have done any sort of initial work or sort of review or bidding on that yet.
It's tough right now because of the construction going on the west end of the campus. Right. It has caused all of the employee parking now to be moved to our area. And when you drive down Steilacoom Boulevard during a weekday, it looks like a giant used car lot. Oh, got it. And that has, it blocks the viewscape for our buildings and so forth. And, it's a little better on the weekends, but, during the week, it just makes it nearly impossible to, have any kind of a meaningful tour because no one knows where to park. It's just difficult.
I'm sure. And, it'll get better. All things.
Well, I know the master plan for Western State calls for, once that new building is created, is that they've allocated a space for a potential visitor center or something, in the area where we are. And I hope, I live long enough to see that come to pass. Life is uncertain. I'll share one little anecdote with you that happened to me about 10 years ago in the supermarket. I'm in the produce section looking at bananas, and there's this elderly gentleman standing next to me. And so to be friendly, I say, they look pretty good today, nice and ripe. And he looks at me and he says, at my age, I never buy a green banana.
There you go.
So, I share that with you. Life is uncertain.
It is, for sure.
Definitely.
Well, thank you for sharing yours with us. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Did everyone get a refrigerator magnet?
We got one. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Let me give the staff here.
I think we got one from Grave Concerns.
My friend Judy at Tacoma Trophy.
Yeah.
You have one?
I do.
Let's see.
Okay, good.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks, Joe.
So thank you very much.
Joe.
Have a good time.
Yep.
Keep buying green bananas.
Yeah. Okay.
Tourism Authority with Mr. Burke.
I'm going to be here over there.
Might as well go over there, I guess, that way. Makes it easier for anyone watching to visualize.
Cool graph. Ready? We're good? Okay. And who's driving the buttons? You?
We like
All right,
pictures.
good morning. Here we
This
go.
is great.
You are familiar with us. We've rebranded. We've renamed ourselves a little bit here to be more in line with a county-wide perspective. Tacoma Pierce County Tourism Authority. We market under the brand Visit Tacoma Pierce County.
Mm-hmm.
We are the DMO. We're the destination marketing organization county-wide. And within that, we are a Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are a sports commission. And we serve 7 municipal contracts across Pierce County. Our North Star is the generation of hotel room nights as the #1 thing. And we do use that as a North Star because when hotel room numbers are good, economic impact numbers are good too. They follow, but we start with that room night one first. A visitor defined for us is someone who travels into the area from outside of 50 miles or out of state or out of country if we're lucky. And again, our focus is the development of those overnight visitors first. We have 3 main pillars of business: conventions and meetings, which is a group business, amateur sports, which is also a group business, and then last pillar is leisure travel, which is individual. Okay. We just want to share with you a little bit of, I talked about that rebranding the way we did and what that looks like. Just a couple of samples of how that kind of plays out. It usually shows a little better than it tells. So you'll see things like this might be an example of an ad. We've generally at any moment of the year got anywhere between 120 and 300 ads running in different places for different ways. But how it kind of plays out at the local level as we share this across the county in a more micro level is you would see something like this, for example, for Lakewood. And so you might see Visit Lakewood powered by the Tacoma Pierce County Tourism Authority, or something like this again, where you get that. It gives us the room to better amplify each individual market. So as I'm showing some samples from some other Pierce County neighbors as well, so you kind of see how we look across the board there, and see how that plays out. Few notes about the lodging ecosystem for us here. On the left side of the screen is the percent of overall rooms and properties sold, percent of rooms sold in properties 40 rooms or more. So you can kind of see the balance of where the hotel performance is across Pierce County. And of course, some of that's driven by, just the volume of available rooms, which is shown on the right. So
are those updated room counts?
We're always updating them. They're constantly changing, especially right now, given that Fife, Hosmer District, and parts of Lakewood are taking offline some of the places that are turning into low income or homeless. Right. So that's kind of a real time change right now that we're watching. So these are pretty close. They're always pretty close. So we got approximately 6,500 rooms countywide and about 3,300 short-term rentals countywide as well. That bottom number, by the way, was about 300 in 2019. Wow. Yeah, some change there for sure. So short-term rentals, Airbnbs, VRBOs, things like that. It's about 1.7 million rooms sold annually right now. It's about 200 million in hotel revenue countywide. That's just kind of the big ballpark. And it makes about 1.8 billion in total economic impact. Wow. That's so it is worthy. This is just a quick chart. Sorry for the little screen block out up there, but this kind of shows performance going back to 2020. Each of the humps in this is summer. So that first hump on the left, the first cliff drop is the pandemic. And then you see summer of 20, summer of 21, summer of 22, 23, all the way up to now. This is data that I put out regularly in my newsletters as well, so you can kind of follow along through the performances, but it shows Pierce County average versus national averages. This is looking at occupancy, just kind of handy to show. You can it definitely amplifies our summer presence as a summer destination, especially between the 2 major holidays, Memorial Day, Labor Day. Oops. I'll go back. This is the same chart, but flattens out all the crazy spikes. So and the reason I show this is because it's kind of like a tide look at the overall volume. And it shows it by district. You can kind of see the key down at the bottom by who's there. But what's important to note here in terms of volume is the higher lines on the left, that's pre-pandemic. We're not quite back to those volumes. Economically, we're way past them. Inflation is revenue is off the charts, but volume of people wise is still not there yet. And that's true in most places. So a little bit about our core segments, conventions and meetings, for example. We write about 400 contracts annually from in-year, meaning events that we will book in this year or in whatever year we're in, to as far as 4 or 5 years out. The convention center in downtown Tacoma, for example, we put about 150,000 people annually, makes about 40,000 room nights. And then we put about another 35,000 room nights into conventions and meetings that we book outside of there. So places like McGavock or Pioneer Pavilion or different spaces, fair, whatever that may be. So we're not only centric to the convention center. Sports, we work with about 60 events annually. We develop guidance and consult to about another 20. President's Day weekend is the biggest sports event weekend in all of Pierce County in a year. It's about 50,000 people, make up about 15,000 room nights across 4 concurrent events. So it's a big event. We do about 300,000 visitors annually and make more than 70,000 room nights out of that bundle. And of course, we've always done really well in Lakewood with, there we go, leisure, our last segment. Always the most challenging for any marketing program, whether you're selling a laundry detergent or travel, because it's very hard to know how people are coming back or if people are responding. So this is where we are data wonks and very technical in our efforts. This was historically our smallest segment for a long time. It is now equal to our other 2. So we're about a third with each of our segments and what we develop. So, and we've been able to do this through a lot of technical growth, using a lot of very trackable attribution-related digital marketing programs that help us know that people are not only engaging the ad, but then coming in and staying in market. Quick summary on last year. When we started the year, we said we were going to deliver 105,000 room nights. We adjusted that to 117,000. And then we headed for 147, and we ended the year at over 170. So that was great. We set records in 23 in every category. We broke all-time records for the convention center since it was built, and happy to report that as of June this year, we beat all of that already. So, so even though we're still operating within a slightly repressed ecosystem, meaning bigger things than we can control, the segments that we do control or influence, we are only getting better at. So happy for that. So that's kind of the end for me.
Well, very good.
Questions?
So the request this year is 150,000 for all the activities.
Correct.
Very good. Any questions? Okay. Hopefully we can continue to grow some available room beds in Lakewood. I think there's another hotel project potentially on the horizon.
So yeah,
that would be good. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ms. Pritchard. Come on up. Asia Pacific Cultural Center. You're next. Well timed.
Good morning, my friends. Thank you so much for having me today. It's that time of the year again, and we're looking forward to next year's event. So I'm just going to go right into my pictures and talk to you about, again, we're asking for the same amount, and our budget is always the same, if not more, on our side. But we asked City of Lakewood for their support. And I do want to say this. Our main goal was always to have this thing in the City of Lakewood, but it has not been able to do because Clover Park High School, I don't know why, it's always something going on, and that we had to go somewhere else. So I want you to know that we're looking forward to 2025, and I really hope that the stadium will be okay, and also all the electrical situations will be fixed up. So that's what we want to do. But, in Lakewood in 2010, there's been, 14% of our populations have been here. But look at what happened in 2020 and now it's 2024. There's got to be more because there has been a real good flux of people coming from California. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more people living here in the city of Lakewood. And we just love Lakewood anyway. So, and so our population grows every single day, of course. And that's why it's really important that we want to celebrate inside of Lakewood, but if not, we have to continue. But I want you to know that the entire Asia Pacific people of Lakewood do participate. And also people of Lakewood come to wherever we are because City of Lakewood just love what we do anyway. So, and then, more and more we include our young people. And so, this year, we did 8,000 people, but those are people who were being able to be counted, but I know there must have been a lot more. The admission to our events is always mostly free. The only thing that we do have people pay is when we fundraise to help subsidize our budget. And so in 2010, we had it as just one day, but since then it's been a whole week. So it's a whole week of 7 days of everything. So, and different events each day. And so we start off with our first day. It's always a prayer because culturally we believe that we need to pray to have a good, blessed week of whatever we're going to do. So that's what we do. And then day 2, we give it to the young people. And as you can see with the pictures, it's expanding. More and more people are involved. So this is all youth. And then day 3, we also bring the youth to have 2 days, which is day 3 and 4, learning about the different things that we all used to do traditionally. And so we want our people to be proud of what we've been doing and how we got to where we are as a people. And then also in the day 4, we included our language. We're now teaching our language on day 4. And then day 5, we show all of our fashions, the different fashions. And also this is a time to promote our businesses who do our Samoan fashions and how it has grown into different kinds of fashions using our materials. And then day 6, we have a big dinner where all the professionals and different kinds of people to enhance them in such a way and get to know each other about the different talents that we have. And then our last day is we open it up to the entire world. So the entire world comes to see our parade of people and dances and all kinds of foods and all different activities. So it's a great way to spend money in terms of public money to help support our people. So this is just a Samoan community. And we ask the City of Lakewood to please continue to help us make sure that our Samoan community is known and be shared and also be understood mostly. And if I could say, Samoan people a long time ago, even in the City of Lakewood, they used to be known as violent and be misunderstood and also causing trouble everywhere, having temperament stuff. But that's with the youth because they're grown up here or they're raised up here or they're born into here and they have no sense of who they are as a Samoan people. So this particular event has really, really made a difference. And more people get to know people, Samoan people they're really wonderful people. And then also the young people, they're more proud of who they are. So that's the value of things like this, of events like this. And City of Lakewood is a proud sponsor of this event. So, and many other events, of course, of APCC. So, there you are, and I'm open for questions. And I just want to say thank you to the city of Lakewood for always helping us.
Well, thank you. Lua, any questions, members?
No questions, just a comment. Just always love what you do so much. It's so important. It just huge piece of my heart for your work. So thank you. I tell this all the time across the county in my work that we need more copies of Lua in the area across so many places. So just thank you so much. Yeah.
And the mayor of City of Lakewood is very famous with our community as well.
I do try to come when I can.
I tell him he's half Islander anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thanks again for
Thank
everything.
you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lua.
Well, let's see. We have Miss Martinez here, but are you here for just observing? All right. Are you here eventually for all of the City of Lakewood categories?
Yes, from 2 to 4, but I'm going.
Yeah, we might just bring you in we thought about go ahead and cover the Lakewood stuff in one fell swoop. So if you want to jump in now, it's up to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to tell, but that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So you're going to start, Sally, with the marketing promotion piece all the way through Fiesta de la Familia?
Yes, it's all in
Perfect.
one PowerPoint.
Yep. That works for us.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And remind me it's our hotel person? Who is our hotel person on the committee? Is someone
Well,
from
they're not here.
Oh, they're not here.
Unless
Okay.
they're on via Zoom. Did they show via Zoom yet? No. Okay. So we've
Okay.
got
I
Dean
was
Burke.
just curious.
Yeah, and Linda.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate everyone's patience. We're jumping around a little bit, but I think that's a reflection of good flexibility.
Yeah. And I also love what Asia Pacific Cultural Center does. They always partner with us and elevate everything we do. They're amazing. Okay.
They're fantastic. Yeah.
So let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events that I'll be presenting today for lodging tax funds. And I just want to start by genuinely thanking you for supporting this year's events and making those happen. Okay, so is it just... Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to start with Summerfest. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about tradition. These aren't just one-off events. We are on our 26th year of Summerfest. And so what that does is it keeps it top of mind for people and it spreads word of mouth. So this has spread far and beyond Lakewood. But what it also does is, and this is really interesting, it's more than just getting heads in beds in Lakewood for that night. People want to move here. And you may have heard this too, but I am hearing this more and more. In fact, I was just at an event the other night in the neighborhood, and someone was kind of reluctantly kind of maybe moving to Lakewood because her husband wanted to move there. And then she came to our events and she was completely sold just by the sense of community that's here. And I'm hearing that more and more. So it starts with heads and beds and hotels. And then it actually leads to economic development in terms of bringing people to the community. So I always keep the heads and beds top of mind. How can I get people in the hotels? And one way that we do that is by attracting over 40,000 people. But also we have a radio sponsor. And so it is being advertised across the state. We know we're getting probably 18%, 20% of the population that comes is from outside the 50-mile radius. We know that every year, 40% of the people who come are new due to the turnover in our population here in Lakewood. But but it also speaks to the fact that we're advertising it really well. A huge amount of the money that I get from lodging tax is spent on advertising. And another way we advertise is by engaging so many different organizations. So we have over 200 organizations involved in Summerfest. We focus on sports, wellness, and art through our passport. And so it's known for really having something for everyone. We don't need to worry about competing with Bite of Seattle, Taste of Tacoma, because what everyone tells us is there isn't something for everyone at those events where there is at Summerfest. We know that the car show, I just talked to them, they have cars that come from Shelton, Covington, and Bremerton. And so we know those are well outside the 50-mile radius. And also, we have the vendors set up on Friday now. And so they're more likely to stay overnight because they do come from far and wide. We always have a wow factor. We added the drone show. Thank you, City Council, and the balloon glow. So just things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. And then Asia Pacific Cultural Center works with sister cities to have the international festival component. And this was the Wenatchee Youth Circus that came this year. So Wenatchee Youth Circus, well outside the 50-mile radius. I'm just always brainstorming, keeping top of mind, how can I bring in people to come to our hotels? I can tell you that Best Western was sold out that night. So we know that they did very well. Moving on to the Lakewood Farmers Market. We had a long 14-week season this year. And so we do a survey here to try to get some accurate counts, but we know that 18% of attendees live outside the 50-mile radius. That number is growing, and it's a big number, I think. Hi, Mary. I jumped in early. So that was actually surprising to me, and 9% come from out of the state. We have vendors that come from Yakima, Wapato, Mount Vernon, Snohomish, Westport, Vancouver, and Randolph, Vermont. Oh, that's some maple syrup guy. So in terms of economic impact, we know that 28% of the shoppers shop in surrounding stores on market day. We know that 50% of the people spend more than $30. And so, we really are trying to track data for you all to get an idea of what's happening at the market. We try to make them, the participants who come, we try to think of ways to make them stay longer. One is to have lots of food options, the lawn games, live music, face painting, and you can see the crowds. It's very diverse. And next year, we've already planned our dates, so we plan well in advance. And I was going to bring you a postcard. So we've started to send out a postcard in January, and it has all the event dates, so people can really plan ahead and invite their out-of-town guests. And that's truly what's happening is people's guests and family are coming on the dates that we have our events. So
it looks like we're not going into September next year?
I don't think so. I think it really slows down after school starts. Right? We certainly could. But Lonnie and I were thinking that maybe we would not do that.
Before you go on to the next piece, so vendor feedback and reaction, are they happy?
The vendors are so happy. They love our market. We're getting more and more recommendations, more and more people coming from other markets to our market. They love the layout. It's important to that. It's hard for vendors. They have a lot to set up. And the way we have it arranged for them to park behind their booth, the ease of it, they like our attitude and approach towards them. They're very happy with their sales. They're very pleased with how we've coincided it with the summer concert series. And they tell us every market day that they do so well that there's an influx of money that comes in when that concert starts. And that's why we've had longevity of vendors. It's very hard to come by good vendors. And I feel like every year the quality increases. Our farmers are extremely happy.
Good. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, just because my days are so busy, as often as I try to get away in the middle of the day to visit the farmer's market, it's just not possible. So I really love the Tuesday nights where I can quick go, grab some items, always my flowers, and then get something to eat and then go and enjoy the concert. I love the way that just all ties in together. And I think the farmers appreciate, that little bit of extra time where people can come out after work and spend some money too. So that just works out really well. And I don't know whose idea it was to move it to a nice grassy area, but I thank you. I'm sure that all of the pet owners that are walking their dogs, thank you. It's just
over the years, but it landed well.
It's just such an ideal situation, and it just makes you want to stay longer. When you're not on hot pavement, you've got a nice grassy area and just plenty of room to spread out. So it's ideal. It's idyllic.
Yeah, it's a good win. Yeah.
I know we're so fortunate to have this park. Thanks for that feedback. I know, I feel like it's been quite a progression, with COVID when vendors had to be 10 feet apart. So we had to move from City Hall. And then we went to the parking lot because we wanted to do the drive-through concept. And we went up to Ballard and studied how they did it. And then we saw that it was so hot. That's the year we had a lot of fires and it was so hot. And so then we moved it to the grass and now it's perfect. And people do stay for the whole day. They bring their kids, they plant their blanket, they play in the playground, listen to the music, dance, get food, then go to the concert. And so that they are going back and spending more because they might eat and then they go buy something from another vendor. And so that's
precisely.
Yeah. And then the other thing, Mayor, it gets dark in September. So, it ends at 7 and then sunsets at 7:10 now.
Yeah.
But again, we're flexible. If people really wanted that, we would, the vendors always want it. They always want a place to sell. But the attendance drops once school starts.
Right. Let me ask you real quick before we move from Summerfest. So it's grown obviously pretty dramatically. And given the focus of heads and beds, has there been a renewed conversation about doing a second day like we used to have?
That does come up, but from what I know, I think that happened once, and it's just literally a matter of the workforce of the Parks and Rec department. Just the manpower that's needed.
Right.
And the mess that's made. I remember having an event the day after thinking that was such a great idea. And I had no idea. It was a yoga and meditation event and the garbage.
Oh, wow.
So I was out there with pickers. Mary, do you want to?
I'll just add that we have so many, it's such a great day for our partners, our nonprofits, all those groups. They can't handle a 2-day event.
Got it.
They set up in like the school district, the library, all of those nonprofits that are out there and grateful to museums. So what happens is they all leave and don't come to second day, so it looks a little ratty-tatty, and the ones that are there, we just don't have the capacity.
So there's no need. Yeah. Right.
A different, some of these festivals have big, giant nonprofits around those festivals, but it's us.
Right.
Really looking at it, all hands on deck for a whole.
Being in the world of events, you may not see this, but since COVID, the staffing of these agencies has really gone down. They're really struggling to come out to these events. They come out because Summerfest is so big and they'll come out to the market, but overall, they don't have a lot of capacity right now from compared to what it used to be.
And no additional thoughts or queries on maybe doing that signature sort of sprint triathlon or any other sort of 5K event for families, maybe not on the day of Summerfest, but maybe the second day where you don't have to have as much staffing, or it might be sponsored by, say, the Lake Cross Country Booster Club or something like that.
We could certainly do that. A race. I think a race is a good idea.
It's just a matter of making sure that it's right for the event, right for the location. And, even with Sprint Triathlon was amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
But the amount of energy and time for 250 people, for looking at police and fire and all those partners, it made more sense to focus on 40,000 people trying to park there. So all of the energy that we spent a year doing this amazing little triathlon for people.
Yeah.
We figured out her. So,
right.
you know, those, we have to just be strategic in our resources. And although those are great events, and if a partner came forward and it's easy to,
it would be neat. Yeah, it'd be neat to see eventually, you know, some sort of athletic signature event that could be an annual thing, because, you know, Bloomsday has been such a driver economically for Spokane. Is the 3-on-3 Hoop Fest thing. I mean, that's even bigger than Bloomsday.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's the organizational structure managing those things?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not 6 people.
No. But that's why there's lodging tax money available potentially, right?
And I love that because, you know, a big focus, you know, we wanted to add a theme that carried through Summerfest, and it is health and wellness.
Right.
And I love the idea of an annual run. And Mark Chung does a lot of runs out there.
It doesn't have to be huge. It could be a 5K or
right.
walk for people.
Exactly. It'd be really, really easy to Summerfest 5K.
You know, the t-shirt sponsors, and then the students are the ones that come up with the design for the art, and it's unveiled at, you know, Summerfest. Something that's athletic and family fitness friendly. It would be kind of a neat thing to build on, in my opinion. If we needed more money to do it, we can talk about it. But I think that I keep getting inquiries about it, obviously, and that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, you're in that running world. I know, I love that idea, and I think that's doable, and I like that suggestion.
Yeah.
It's also pretty, especially if you have another organization come in, like Mark, he's already got, you know, that's what he does. So
yeah,
be pretty straightforward.
Absolutely. Oh, good.
So we do have those kind of things built into
right.
So it's just finding the right event. But yeah, to make it even more special.
There we go.
Thanks for mentioning it. Anything else on Summerfest or the farmers market? Okay. And I will say, I think just like you're suggesting, the vendors suggest things, and I always listen. And, you know, I think there is an attitude out there of like, well, I don't want to listen. They're complaining, or they're, you know, I don't know. I just feedback's so valuable, and there's always room to change and grow. And that's what keeps it fresh and interesting and up with the times and the trends.
Sure.
So the summer concerts, wow, they really took off this year. I would say definitely our biggest attendance. We continue to spend a good amount of money on the bands so that they're high quality. Like we said, there's synergy with the farmers market. It attracts all ages, people, all cultures. We really have a different genre of music for each week. So I went through that pretty fast because, but if you have any questions on that, let me know. And then the Saturday Street Festival on Motor Avenue. This year, the theme was Jazz Night and Car Show. And again, the cars came from Shelton, Covington, and Bremerton, as well as surrounding areas. They found an amazing company, MP Car Shows, and they do a top-notch job. And so the car shows are gaining a lot of traction.
That's great.
We just try to make it fun for everyone, the kids. We do feel like it generates tourism, has a strong economic impact, provides community engagement, and it's becoming a tradition. You know, that street's so beautiful with the brick. And then the Fiesta de la Familia. Now, this is amazing. Again, I was looking through my little journal when I first started 9 years ago, and it talked about having this event. And I tried every year, but I didn't have the right partners. And it's always about the partners. And then 3 years ago, I found the right partners, and it started as a street festival and now has grown. It's the second year at Fort Steilacoom Park. We probably had 7,000 or 8,000 people at this event. And that morning it was on King 5 television. So that was amazing to get that plug. And it's because the Mexican consulate has gotten involved. They're so impressed. And so they were interviewing them on King 5 television. And then they did a plug for the event at the end. And then KBTC is an amazing sponsor, and they do free commercials for us.
That's great.
This year we had the Mexican dancing horses and they're so professional. I think they just really elevated the event and made it so memorable. We brought in the cultural dancing. We had a car show and then the community ofrenda. And if you don't know about that, that's where people can, they can get a marigold. We had fresh marigolds donated, which was really special. And the tea lights, and then people write little messages to loved ones. And by the end of the event, the whole altar is just filled with the most touching messages. We had artists create the 12-foot Katrina dolls that paraded around. And then we had our entertainers. For the first year, we did a children's parade, and this was so popular. So many children came. They were dressed in their traditional clothing. Oops. And so it was a very successful event. This event is new, and I'm asking for lodging tax money for MLK's Beloved Community Welcome Walk and 3 workshops. The Beloved Community concept has 20 traits that can be implemented in communities, and our vision is to kick it off at the Welcome Walk by bringing everyone together. The keynote speaker is Dr. John Scott. His mentor was MLK's speechwriter. It's a really amazing opportunity to have someone like him here in Lakewood. And it's this opportunity for Lakewood to be a leader in the DEI world by really, it's a campaign, I would say, to implement Beloved Community across the state. So it would start with the keynote speech where we'd have selected people invited to come and listen to the keynote speech. And then it would be followed by, we'll have a DJ, we'll have the Beloved Community Welcome Walk, we'll have a mural, a Beloved Community mural, ribbon cutting, ideally, at that event. And then it'll be followed by 3 workshops.
Is there a line item for that ask? I don't see that spelled out here. Or is it just subsumed in the marketing promotion monies?
It's the what are you looking at?
I'm looking at whatever Dana gave us here, the sheet.
This budget sheet you gave us, there's not a line item for the MLK.
Oh, I'm grabbing one. So I'll continue to tell you a little bit about it. Pardon?
What was the total ask on this one?
10,000. So that's for the keynote speaker and the 3 workshops, or 2 workshops, and then just event swag and contractors. So it's not a big budget item, but it has big impact. And the idea is that, well, let me keep going through some of the pictures. So I know that's not the most flattering picture, but I love this picture. Because first of all, it speaks to the diversity that's already coming to the Welcome Walk. And the term Beloved Community came from MLK, and it's really encouraging everyone to find ways to make others feel more respected, valued, and accepted. And it's a community in which everyone is cared for, absent of poverty, hunger, and hate. These are pictures from our past Welcome Walk. So again, you can see we have a lot of African Americans that come to this event, a lot of people from different cultures. The Youth Council participates. We have partners. So again, I am asking for money for the lodging tax, but I make an extremely concerted effort to find other sponsors for all my events. And because they have a good reputation, they want to be involved. Twin Star Credit Union, Clover Park School District, Showcase Media. These are organizations that help support in addition to the lodging tax. So it's free and inclusive and attracts people of all ages. And it already has a strong foundation. So we're really building on something that exists and expanding it. There's food. And then this talks about the workshops. So this is Dr. John Scott. Like I said, his mentor was MLK's speechwriter. He's someone very special. He's known throughout the country. He currently is working with leadership from Berkeley and Stanford on DEI leadership qualities. And he implements traits of beloved community around the country. And he wants to do that for us as well. I'm not going to go through these traits, and this is kind of the end of my presentation, but I'll just talk to you directly that for the workshops, we'd envision one being like Pierce and King County leaders, people who could really implement these 20 traits of beloved community in their community, knowing that Lakewood is the one instigating it all and really being in the forefront of that movement. And I think that would make Lakewood look amazing. And the second workshop, I really envisioned people coming actually from all over the country who could take it back to their towns and cities. And I've already had interest from people that want to come and do that. The workshops would be 4 hours. Obviously, they'd stay in a hotel.
Located at McGavock or where?
Probably the pavilion. Because it's very interactive. But I was going to also put in for a McGavock day for from people from out of state, probably. So
because I could see, if well promoted, the speech and then maybe the breakout sessions or something, if you did it that way, one day could be a pretty big event, well beyond the capacity of the pavilion. I mean, if it's really well done, I'm thinking that, you know, again, in my day job, I'd invite folks from Auburn down because they're really focused on many of the good ideas here in this work, and why not invite other cities and towns?
Exactly. I told Mary I wanted every city manager from there's 281 across the state, but I don't know that city managers are the one. It's the people that can really implement this work that you want at the
well, yeah, for example, Auburn's got it at the director level. They have a director as part of the executive leadership team for the Office of Equity, and they would probably love to come and observe and be involved in something like this with their team.
Excellent.
Just also say that I agree with you so much, and there's so many communities that need more turnkey opportunities. You know, they don't have full departments and divisions of equity, social justice, like Tacoma and Seattle, but for a lot of cities and towns, Auburn, Petraway, Marion, you know, outside in Kennewick, they're really looking for ways to, because it's equity is such an important value and goal for so many communities. This would be a great way for them to come get inspired, probably have some hands-on opportunities.
Absolutely.
Turnkey opportunities to take back the community where you can just start implementing it. You don't have to start from scratch.
Yep.
And I think that I agree with you. I think if it's promoted properly,
if we think bigger,
we can really make it be something, a landmark opportunity that we're known for.
Completely.
In a topic that's so important. And with the city being, you know, more than 50% by people, that's something that we're proud of, and we can help. Again, it enhances why we're taking the lead on this. It's important to us.
I think we could get a lot of business sponsorship for this concept at kind of a keynote speaker, you know, really make it intentional, like you're talking about, with maybe workshops and breakout sessions that people can choose to go to session A, B, or C, and then come back. And it could be a really good event. Yeah.
So 2 things. I know I'm eating and sleeping beloved community right now, and I'm going down all these rabbit holes. There's so much amazing information about this. But 2 things in terms of business sponsorship. So Vibrant Schools is going to sponsor one of the workshops for $2,000. And the Lutheran Church has a huge focus right now on this, and they're going to an anti-racism focus. So they're going to sponsor one. So we know that. And then the city would sponsor one and the keynote. So we've got that support. And Twin Star Credit Union is also helping fund the Welcome Walk itself.
Would that be on the same day or kind of spread?
So the way this Welcome Walk works, it kicks it off January 11th. And there's the keynote before the Welcome Walk, invite only for the keynote, that hopefully will be some of these people and it'll inspire them. And then we have the walk and the ribbon cutting for the mural. Around the lake, we'll have the 20 traits of beloved community.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We'll have jazz. We'll have the DJ and dancing.
Probably some food truck stuff.
Food trucks, right. And it's kind of short and sweet. It's 12 to 2 with the keynote before that. And then the workshops, we've already set the date. There's one in February, February 22nd, March 22nd, and April 22nd. They're on Saturdays.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And
so
I will
all in one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So the workshops are once a month, and Dr. Scott's already committed to those dates. And I will put in for a McGavick Day.
Only if you think it's necessary. And now I understand more what you're doing. You're spreading it out. I thought it was going to be like one big day event where you had to walk and then, meet at McGavick or whatever, had the keynote.
Yeah. So it took a little while to. Yeah. True. So each workshop would have kind of different constituents and stakeholders. Like one might just be King Pierce County, Washington. One might be outside the state, and one might be the youth. He really wants to work with the youth.
Right. Okay, well, great ideas. Let's see how it plays out.
Okay.
And don't be afraid of success. It may really grow.
Thanks. Right. I'm excited about it. It's really inspired.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you again for your support. And I never take it for granted. We're really frugal and work hard on sponsorships to supplement what you offer us. Thank you.
Very good. Well, thanks again for the good work.
Thank you.
Really good stuff.
Thanks for coming out.
So we just want to double check with Dana that would make the city's ask 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this would be a 7th category. I think that's correct. Okay, very good. I just want to make sure we're keeping our little record here for the benefit of the committee.
So I have 6. Is the 7th not?
This would be the.
Oh, got it.
The marketing promotion, yeah. So before you go, Sally, just generally for the $80,000 ask under marketing promotion, is that just for all events or is that something?
That's across the board. I believe that's across the board. A huge.
The 80,000
for Bryn. Communication.
Is that what that's for? That's for Bryn? Is she coming separately?
She's in meeting right now. She'll come.
Got it. Okay. Sorry, I was confused about whether that was part of Sally's piece or not. Okay.
So I will say that has been a tremendous help what Bryn has done in taking on. So she's just taking on all of the advertising, social media, where before I was working with the magazines and so on, and then the Nearcation website. So it's really elevated the events.
Perfect. Okay, so just to recap then, Sally is requesting in 6 particular line items. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry to create any confusion there.
Representing the Lakewood Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hear everyone's presentations, including ours. I would like to propose something new, and that is a Memorial Day concert. One of the things that we have talked about, bemoaned over the years is we do not have a Veterans Day parade. There are several communities in the South Puget Sound that really have some very successful events, and we did not want to try to compete, especially because of the limited resources that JBLM has as well. Whether you wanted to have marching bands or folks that are going to be participating in parades, and we do understand that Auburn has an extremely successful event. Yeah, surprisingly, right? One of the things that we wanted to do in my discussions with the co-chairs of our Armed Forces Connection Committee was to do something to commemorate our veterans. And so we thought that Memorial Day would be a more appropriate time, and Mountain View Memorial Cemetery has a fabulous memorial service. And what we wanted to do was dovetail after their particular event and have a community-wide concert. We've looked at several venues, one being the Performing Arts Center at Clover Park High School. We also are looking at the potential of the pavilion in the Colonial Center, and or if we can possibly get a city day at the McGavick Center, that would be logical because it would just be a walk across the street or a quick drive across the Street. And Memorial Day, May is one of those crazy months where we don't know if it's going to be a downpour or whether it's going to be a glorious summer-like day. So the possibility of doing something indoors is also always appealing. We have an opportunity to get some military bands as well as civilian bands to participate and play. And we also wanted to have some sort of a brief ceremony, but to just create an opportunity for our community as well as the people in the South Sound to come together and have a celebration of sorts and something that's dignified, but also joyous and celebratory at the same time. So that's
thought about a concert vendor. Would it be like Tacoma Concert Band or something like that?
Correct. Yes,
okay.
and then we also wanted to have the Air Force Band come and perform as well. So we were looking at the possibility of having two bands.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that is the long and the short of it, and we are requesting $7,500 to kickstart this program. And is there somebody behind me? No?
Lakewood
Okay.
Playhouse, folks.
Oh, okay.
Or not Lakewood Playhouse, but Lakewood Gardens, excuse me.
The funds would, of course, be used to pay for the performances as well as for advertising, and that would pretty much be it. So that is our request for funding.
Yeah.
I will entertain any questions that you might have.
So I'm thinking about venue, right? Because that's the challenge.
Yes.
So with the weather.
Yes.
If it could be McGavock Center, it would make sense because then you could have a big draw with people at the memorial
Correct.
at the funeral home over there, Mountain View, and then just kind of come across.
And then you don't lose a lot of people.
Yeah, you're looking at what, $1,500 for City Day.
Correct.
You're $7,500, so then you'd have to kind of budget accordingly for the other component piece
Indeed.
of it.
And, the potential, if we were to do it indoors, as well as to encourage vendors as well as other organizations, nonprofit groups, including the Gold Star Mothers and a variety of, there's so many groups that are affiliated with our veterans that it would be, I think, kind of neat to have a vendor opportunity.
Yeah,
for,
food trucks
for
maybe
folks
even
to,
out there, whatever. Yeah, that'd be
exactly, and to have those connections as well.
Great. Okay, very good.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that helps us with our schedule a little bit. Thank you, Ms. Smith. How long is your other one going to take? Your other presentation?
I'll try to go through it quickly, 10 minutes.
Okay, so let me bring on the folks from Lakewood Gardens real quick.
Yeah, you can plug me in anytime.
Yeah. We're ready. Lori, how are you?
Hello there.
Good to see you. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Linda Smith.
Jason Whalen, how are you?
Pleasure to meet you.
I guess, how are you? Good to see you.
Hi there. Linda, nice to meet you as well. Welcome aboard.
Yeah,
we love, we're loving having you here.
This one's on.
Oh, here, you can sit down.
I think, yeah.
There we go. With our great technology, we can only have 3 buttons turned on at once. So
yes. Stay muted.
And then go ahead and bring it down, Lori, a little bit like that so we can hear you. And I'll turn mine off.
Just need to lit up, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, welcome. We now have our friends from the Lakewood Gardens organization. The floor is yours. Introduce yourselves and let us know about your requests this year.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for having us. We are Lakewood Gardens, and as you know, we are a historic garden that's been a prominent part of the city of Lakewood for quite some time. My name is Justin Henderson, and this is one of our board of trustees.
Hi, Lori Sharmock. I have Randall Public Relations, so lending a hand a little bit on the promotional aspects of this, the events and the LTAC part. And then Justin just joined us recently.
Yeah, so I'm the brand new executive director, and I came from Federal Way, but I live in Tacoma, and I ran a garden in Federal Way for 7 years called Powellswood Garden. Similar estate, is just maybe not as historic as Lakewold, and so a lot of similar programming and things, and so it's nice to come in and already be familiar with the territory and just really apply a lot of what we did up in Federal Way down here in Lakewood. And so I've also served as the president of the Northwest Horticultural Society, so very involved regionally with our garden world. And so last year, we were so grateful to receive the $200,000 from the LTAC grant. It made a huge difference for us. And here's how we divided that money up. Last year, we had a social media firm that we hired. We did certain events, Theater in the Garden, Rocking the Roadies. We emphasized our music programs with our radio advertising, and then the artist fees and the marketing manager. It was a very successful year in terms of really establishing who we are as a center for art, music, and nature. Within our region, there's sort of been a shift from Lakewold, more than just a garden, to really be a cultural institution, and to benefit our local community as well as attract a lot of tourists. And that was a significant goal that we were able to achieve in these last few years. It's really starting to be able to redefine kind of our overall reach. So based on that, we plan on continuing the same programs that we ran last year, with a little bit of transition into bigger events. And so we simplified what we're asking for in our 2025 budget, still asking for that $200,000. We reduced some of our advertising that would be direct on that. So that would be a 10% part of the budget. A significant portion is for our marketing professional. She helps us with our website. She helps us with our emailing. She's the one really that is reaching on a regular, consistent basis our overall audience. This year, we're looking at doing something a little bit different with how we do our concert and art promotions. We realize the curator that we currently have, he would fit better in a promoter type of role, to really emphasize that portion of what we're trying to achieve and getting people here for things like Theater in the Garden and our different music from home things. We really want to scale up our concert series. And so that is specifically for that position. That would be a contracted position. And then the 25% would go to our garden-inspired events. Some of you are already familiar. We do Mayfest, which is the Mother's Day one. We do Fairy Fest. Both of those attract 500 to 600 people from all around the area for those events. And then as well as this year, we're working on incorporating a few more significant ones, and we'll kind of go over those. And so, great.
Yes. Yeah, excited. Let's talk about the upcoming events.
Yes. So this year with our upcoming events, the emphasis, I couldn't get rid of that little annoying triangle. Sorry about that. But forgive us for the triangle.
Both of our abilities.
I know. So we're looking at a broader reach, broader than what we were able to accomplish even in 2024, working at larger scale events and overall more attendees. And with that, we have some ideas. This is a big one. We'll be transitioning from what we've done in the past, winter solstice, to really a holiday lights festival. We're calling this Winter Glow at Lakewold Gardens. This is almost identical to what we achieved when I was at Powellswood Garden in Federal Way. This is an example, essentially, of what we're going to do even this year. And this LTAC funding would continue to help us promote it. But this is in England at a Royal Horticultural Society garden called Wisley. And this would be very much, might as well be a photo of what we're going to do at Lakewold Gardens this year to really attract that holiday environment.
Yeah, it'll launch this year and will take place. We'll participate in the Lakewood Parade, Holiday Parade, and promote it. And I think the following of the parade, the next day we'll do a free event for Lakewood. But we're really wanting to be a mini Zoo Lights.
Right.
Zoo Lights has gotten so busy and so well known that we think there's room for another venue that's a little bit of a different experience. So yeah, Justin, so we had great success with this.
Yeah, Palswood did 12 nights of this, and in its initial year, Palswood had never done anything of this type, and it sold out all 12 nights. And really, I believe that there is a large market for those holiday light events. I'm a dad. I have 3 little kids. I won't even go to Zoo Lights or this one at Spanaway Park, simply because it's just so crowded. And so
this will be ticketed, so you'll control the.
Yeah, this would have time ticketing. That would be really specific for what our parking lot allows.
Our expanded parking lot.
Expanded parking lot,
yes,
which has been a real game changer as a ticket for a number of our events and being able to increase our capacity and what we're able to host. A lot of the previous events were based on limited parking.
Absolutely. So just a snapshot on this one, roughly, what do you think this one will run to put on? For this year, what we're looking at is $14,000 as part of our current budget that we're spending. I would like to see it scale up to, I mean, really, my goal in revenue is to earn $100,000 in maybe 2026, so we can start to work towards that. So it would be roughly, I would say, for this next year, we would invest $25,000 into it, in terms of the technology and the promotion. Really want to hit our whole region and let it be known that Lakewood has a great holiday lights festival. That would be a really big deal, I think. Yeah.
Working with Endicott Coffee to bring out a coffee cart. Would be
wine.
Yes, a little wine and maybe some strolling carolers at certain points in the time.
It could be a huge deal, I think, because I was on the board a few years back, and the light and tree thing was a lot of money for not a lot of,
keeping it simple. LED lights are not that expensive. So we're just, that was Justin's like, we can do this. And
I'm amazed at how much we're able to do with Amazon and LED projectors. And, we hired a really expensive art lighting professional
2 years
in the
ago,
past.
3 years ago,
and I realized it's really not that difficult to put it on. I had never had any experience in it, and I set it up entirely by myself, promoted it by myself, and we sold out for 12 nights. Over 2,000 people came through in just a little garden. And so
really good.
I believe that with the infrastructure that Lakewood has, we can do significant more than that. And that Palswood event generated about $25,000 in revenue. And so I can see Lakewood as having much more potential.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. Great.
Great.
Music from Home. Oh, sorry, there's our economic. Yeah, Music from Home. We will continue that series. We continue to bring in artists and musicians from our region, and then sometimes in other states too, which is nice because we've noticed that a lot of these musicians, they bring in followings that are from out of our area. One of the nice partnerships that we have with local hotels is we're able to put up a lot of the musicians and artists that come here from out of town, and we're able to help them get accommodations.
Yeah, we've noticed when we have entertainers that are not from the South Sound, they have a following that comes down with them. So that's been beneficial.
Yeah, so we're working with, like I mentioned earlier, working with that concert promoter to really have 3 different music series, spring, summer, and fall. And we want those to be, we want larger audiences, so we want a more broad demographic in their emphasis. There has always been an emphasis on underrepresented musicians and artists, which we will continue to do, but we want to make Lakewood really a music scene. One of my real inspirations is the Idaho Botanic Garden, And they've scaled theirs up to the degree that they have these really large bands, and it's become a significant part of their budget, and it's really huge for the city of Boise to use their space for these large-scale concerts. So.
Oh, I'll talk a little bit about this. The garden is a venue. With the increased parking, we can accommodate larger groups. We had been limited to events of 80 for weddings and celebrations of life. We had a garden party this year as our fundraiser. We had over 200 people. It was fabulous, accommodated it fine. The garden can hold a lot of people. So with that, we have upped our wedding and venue limitations. We're relaxing some of the rules. We are being a friendlier venue, and we are going to go out and market ourselves, participate in the Seattle Pride event, the Tacoma one. We've done a lot of research and find that people who are looking for gardens as a venue for their wedding are not necessarily local. They're looking broad, like what's available in this state. Right. So this is great for lodging overnight. And so we're putting some efforts into that and some of that LTAC budget towards the promotion of that. Celebrations of life as well, same thing, people travel for that. So we think that's in the best interest of the garden and the good use of the LTAC funds. Yes.
Please, yeah.
There were a limited number of weddings that you used to do. Is that opening up then significantly as far as the number of weddings that you're going to be
That's
doing?
a really good question. No, the limitation is based on our status. Our 501c3 status is a non-mission event. We can only do a particular number of those a year. We are held to 15 weddings a year, 35 events a year, and we could do elopements. There's no limit on that. So even with those 15 weddings, that really covers summer season. So, but no, we do have that limitation. So,
but we're looking to maximize.
Oh, it was 8. So 15. Okay, it's larger than. All right.
So we're looking to maximize that, and we're reconfiguring a lot of how we promote weddings and how we relate to potential brides and workout guidelines and all that. So we're creating more relaxed event restrictions to kind of open that up, as well as considering garden shows and things like that.
Yeah, we've changed our event director, working with Jordan Mall Events now as an advisor. And we've done quite an extensive refresh on the garden, the bathrooms, the building, the walkways. So it really is appealing more to the brides and the event people as they're coming through and looking at the property.
This is a great idea too. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a new introduction that we're planning this summer. Sip and Stroll Garden Social, and we've made an excellent connection with David LeClaire. Do you want to talk about David LeClaire? Yes.
David LeClaire is a Seattle wine event planner. He's done a lot of work for several different cities and helping them pull off a large-scale, attractive event. We go way back, we're friends, and he has agreed to help us create the Lakewood Sip and Stroll Garden Social. And, historically, these events, 40% typically come from outside the immediate area, which is fantastic. And we don't know the size yet, where the planning has just begun. We don't have a date yet, but you can imagine it. You've got wine vendors, you've got tents, garden umbrellas, you've got some music, you're going through the garden, there are certain points of interest, you're sampling different wines. 2-day event, possibly, but maybe starting as a 1-day.
Yeah, some of my best memories are just strolling through the garden with a glass of wine in my hand. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's.
Oh, I think we're fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you, though.
So that is David LeClaire. Is that how I say
Yeah.
it? Yeah, David LeClaire. So excited to have him on board, and we're going to make a world-class sip and stroll experience.
He's done one for Kirkland, City of Kirkland, City of Bellevue, many events. Quite successful.
Okay, and then in closing, it's a big deal for us to make good on our city investments. Lakewood Gardens has successfully utilized the City of Lakewood support to grow its offerings from increased event capacity to expanded marketing efforts that draw visitors from across the region. Our enhanced programs, including Winter Glow, the music series, and Sip and Stroll Garden Social, are designed to expand our audience and strengthen Lakewood Gardens' role as a cultural hub. We're looking to secure a broader audience with continued support at the same level. We can solidify Lakewood as a key venue for art, music, and community events that nurture Lakewood's identity and bring visitors to the city. These pillar events will ensure Lakewood's long-term success and enhance Lakewood's standing as a destination for cultural enrichment and economic growth. I would like to keep the momentum that we've started. Together with the city's continued partnership, Lakewood Gardens will continue to grow, bringing nature, art, music, and community to the forefront of Lakewood's offerings.
Okay, fantastic. Any questions, members? Any questions?
Real quickly, and this is really not about, this isn't really tourism related, but one of the questions that I have for you is, you have some absolutely beautiful, fantastic events at Lakewood, and I can't commend you enough for the quality that you put forth for everyone's enjoyment. I'm thinking more along the lines of our local residents. Have you considered the possibility of opening this up to the population on a more, how do you say, cost-effective way, so that more of the population here in the community can enjoy Lakewood and your events?
Like what particular events? Like the Mayfest and the Fairy Fest type of events? Like are you thinking like a discount if you're a Lakewood resident type of a situation?
Possibly.
Yeah, something like that. Well, it'll be interesting to say we're going to do the free day for Lakewood residents on that Sunday for the holiday lights.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's a great. Sally has been really wonderful to work with in talking about how we can integrate into that kickoff. We have not had a discount for residents, but that is an interesting idea. We've toyed around with a day that maybe is a non-charge day. Yeah, that's maybe a slower day at the gardens and a free entry. So
yeah, and one of the things that we're exploring right now, we actually just had this discussion in a meeting yesterday, was figuring out how to attract more low-income families into Lakewood. And so we get them mixed up a lot, right? So into
all knew
Lakewood.
what you were saying.
And so a number of the museums that I'm familiar with in Tacoma, and then also, like, for instance, the zoo and Northwest Trek, they offer a discount for EBT cardholders. And so I was like, how do we get in on this network? We would absolutely love to be a part of that, which would provide a discounted membership card for families who maybe have a difficult time accessing it at a typical rate.
Good to hear. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
Oh, can I say one more thing to that effect? I'm sorry. We are also launching a community garden.
Yeah.
And that community garden would be totally free to the public, and it would provide food for those that are in need as well too. So we're working that out with Harvest Pierce County right now. So yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. And just a final little wrap-up comment for me. I'm really excited about the investment based upon what you've projected to be, I think, winter events, not just to bring in heads and beds, which is why we're here, but to increase the visibility of Lakewood and Lakewold, but also to provide a path towards sustainability for Lakewold.
Yeah,
that's critical. And I think these events will really, really be helpful, not just for lodging tax purposes, but for an institution that's been significant to the community.
No, that's great.
So,
and
yeah.
And I think that, these type of events, they showcase that they're accessible for everyone, even if you're not into gardens and things.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
You guys have time for me now?
We always have time for our fellow members of the Lakewood Police Department here. Yeah. in a different capacity this time. Yeah.
How much junk in the truck? How'd it go? Oh, hey, my pleasure. You did the best and get your operation.
Yeah.
How's that?
Good. Yeah, it's busy. Yeah, it's busy. It's busy. Well, what's going on with cross country?
Lots, because this is being set up for tomorrow. Right now, if you go by the park, it looks like a big event already. The metal trellis is up, and we've got 3 miles of flagging and fencing put up. It started. We had a little bit of a head start this year because one of the I don't know if they're A or B now schools use our equipment, and they set up a light version of what we needed for a race yesterday. So. Which was nice. This was nice. Yeah. Yes, but tomorrow we should have between 8,000 and 10,000 people descend upon Fort Steilacoom Park for the 2024 invite. We're excited. All right. So not a ton of new information from last year other than some updated numbers and to tell you what we were able to do with the support of this group this last year. But just as a reminder, we're despite the fancy name, we're just a bunch of parents and former parents of the team that love running and love to support the sport in the city. And now you get the undistracted focus of Joe Clark, who retired from the Clover Park School District and now is solely focused on making this event and the team as great as possible. So there we go. You know, you'd think I'd be able to just go right through it. There we go. All right. So 2023 saw 3,478 runners across the finish line, representing 111 teams. This year, good news, bad news. Our cycle put us off rhythm with Oregon. And they have a meet where they house the students for free. I think it's Fort Relea, Camp Relea down by Seaside. It's a big Oregon event. So we lost some of the Oregon teams. However, we increased reaching out to club teams and middle schools. So we actually increased our team number to 123. Should have about the same amount of runners. So it's great to reach a new group, and we look forward to getting our Oregonian teams back next year.
So this is really the high school invitational event, right?
Well, so it'll start with a 1 mile free run for kids. Then we run a community 5K. Then we'll run the middle school 2 mile. Boys and then girls. And then we start into the various divisions of high school, starting with freshmen and then bronze, silver, gold.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, racing from 8:30 in the morning till 2, just perpetual. Wow. With awards being given out on stage throughout. And this is a good idea. This is probably the bronze or silver girls start. You get a good feel for it there as it comes around.
Yeah.
Fort Steilacoom Invite is now one of the 4 largest invitational meets in the Pacific Northwest. And we're proud of that because we really are sponsored by this group and internally versus being the Nike hole in the wall is another one of the big ones or some of the ones that have a larger corporate sponsorship. But I think we really put on a fantastic event and we're continuing to grow it. There's a breakdown from last year to show how far groups traveled. You can see we had 4 travel more than 300 miles, 15 traveled over 100, 16 over 70. And if you've had kids in sports, you know that it's a lot of commitment to drive. When my kids run in Yakima, I'm pretty much going to get a hotel. I'm not interested in driving over for 20 minutes of cheering and then coming right back over the pass. So those numbers, we're bringing thousands of people into town, and those numbers are at least at a minimum eating a meal or 2 in town, if not staying overnight.
Is it when you?
Sorry, I can jump
you're
back.
Good. I'm just thinking about, okay, I was going to get to this. So you've got this nice welcome and you provide information to these families about where to stay, where to eat, that kind of a thing.
Absolutely. Right? Bryn and the city have been fantastic. Last year we got this together about 2 weeks in advance. This year we pushed this out a month and a half, 2 months in advance. And the site actually improved. We went through and we identified all of our local restaurants that had bookable banquet rooms so the teams could reach out in advance and make their plans.
That's great.
And I mean, from experience, when we go to state, for example, I think our kids have to drive well out of the Tri-Cities to get themselves a place where they can all sit together because there's just so many teams fighting for space. And then moving on, there's also a page in here that lists the activities we have in town. And then we have direct links for booking our local hotels. And we're pumping this out to the teams, the coaches, and the parents right away.
Where is this website linked? Is it City of Lakewood?
So this is Nearcation, and it is put together. It's put together by Bryn, and then I wish I could say how the magic happened. She just gives me the link, but it was great because after last year we were able to coordinate much earlier.
So it's pushed out to the families. They know where to find it or how to touch, feel.
Yeah, we send it out to the coaches of the club teams, the middle schools, high schools.
We call it a microsite.
Got it.
This is great.
I thought I saw your name on the bottom.
I did.
Oh yeah. Well, we need to get it on. You're right, and we can definitely talk more about it. Mm-hmm. This talks about how heavily our equipment gets used. It is used by 76 regional teams. So we have Thurston County come up and utilize the equipment. And every time they're doing this, and all the Tacoma area teams, it's used for the West Side Classic. And every time that you're talking about regionally, the West Side Classic draws, if I'm not mistaken, everything this side of the mountains is descending upon Lakewood University Place. And again, if you're driving to watch your kid run from Bellingham, you're going to be setting up shop for at least 24 hours in the city. So the investment that we're making in the Fort Steilacoom Park invite really extends its equipment, and these abilities extend to other events that bring people into the area. I wanted to touch briefly, the Lakewood Tax Advisory Committee generously supported us last year. And this year, we were able to add several thousand feet of new flagging, which was desperately needed, several thousand feet of new fencing and posts. It sounds like a simple thing, but to put up a 5K two-sided of posts driven into the ground takes 1,000 posts and a lot of volunteers to drive those posts. So being able to replace some of the ones that we had created over a decade ago by cutting conduit and pounding them into the ground are now nice step-in posts. It presents better. It's easier for volunteers. It's safer. We were able to buy several inflatable arches, so now the 1 mile and 2 mile will not only have big arches, which is kind of a good hype moment, but it also will have it'll also have new timing clocks set up and music, and we are able to set up at least, I think at the halfway mark, we're going to have live results feeding. So when kids, coaches and parents will be able to track live results, which is great. Yeah, I heard the request for video. I looked hard at it. If you've never looked, the one advantage that some of the meets have that do live video are they have a stadium or a large screen that's already in place. Yeah. They're very expensive to rent. Are they? Very, very. I'm working on it. We're working on a partnership to try to get the cost down. It would be really fun. We want to have a great user experience for parents and teams so that they could maybe be sitting where the food trucks are with bleachers and picnic tables TV, and be able to see the TVs with like the 1 mile, the 2 mile, and the live results. It's coming. It's on the table.
It could be huge, especially when you get the age barn done and you've got opportunities for people to gather and eat. And
when the kids when the kids have a great experience, the parents have a great experience, and we spoil our coaches like no other invite. There is a specific coaches lounge with pizza and donuts in the morning and coffee, and that's thanks to the partnerships of some of our local businesses. It's great. We were able to purchase new power supplies, cords that desperately needed to be replaced. I mentioned the race clocks, new AV equipment from music and announcements and awards. We were able to buy better awards this year and increase that budget, which was fantastic. Hospitality for coaches, parents, and volunteers. First time we're going to have live splits at the midpoint. And we were able, through a donation and then some money to upgrade it, get a new equipment trailer, which was fantastic for us.
That was all with the investment from last year. Huh?
Yeah, and some partnership.
Yep. That's great. And it's tomorrow?
It is tomorrow.
Yikes.
Yeah, come on down. It'll be a lot of fun. There we go. So again, this has been running from 1998 to 2024, and it's been exponentially growing every year. And this is the way I'll close out because I just booked this. This is my state hotel room. There are only 5 rooms left within walking distance of the state tournament in the Tri-Cities, which is actually a smaller event than the Fort Steilacoom Invite. Normally a room at the Courtyard Pasco Tri-Cities, which is about a 3/4 mile walk from the course, runs $142. The night before the meet, it jumps up to $445, and that is up from $357, which is what I paid last year. And this is a non-negotiable. I have to buy this in advance. It's unbelievable. Unrefundable. I mean, the Tri-Cities has us and they know it. So I'm excited to bring, and we love it. The state meet is phenomenal. The Fort Slocum Invite is phenomenal. These big events are some of the highlights of my year. I'm really excited to be able to be a part of this and a growing event here in Lakewood. And one more tag, we're using the same equipment to, this will be year 2 of the Jingle Run, where we partner with the city. We had 170 runners last year. Not a massive event, but it was a lot of fun.
Are you doing it again this
year? We're doing it again. We're going to hope to build that year after year. And everything's built out. Now we have more arches and more goals. We get the other Lakes teams to be out there cheering and dressed up. A lot of fun. It's supporting the sport, and it's building more momentum to see this grow in years to come.
That'd be great. Do you need any other support for the Jingle Bell Dash? If we were to do, make it a little bit more user-friendly, the fire pit stuff that we could grow on, and
that was obviously a big hit. The learning points were really, we lose some of the momentum for volunteers because our cross country, the cross country season's over. Some of the parents have fallen away, so a lot of it fell on. Fortunately, I have a lot of kids.
Right,
it falls on my family and Joe and a couple other families, but we'll iron out some of the, it was the day of registration, so we're getting complicated. You add that to 35-degree weather and people get a little impatient, but the fire pits were great. Yeah. Santa Claus giving out presents. Right. And that was another city partnership. That was a big hit. And it's hard to beat finishing through an arch with snow falling on you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Good work. Well, it's great to get kids involved in cross country.
Well, it's a lifetime sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big fan. It's been great for my kids. Yeah. I got 3 running this year.
Well, it's saved me about $140,000-$150,000 on college expenses with my kid. She got a Division I full ride to Boise State. So
the other thing I'll add is the school district has always supported us with at least some of the SantaCan rentals. And it sounds like we might be losing that support. We're in negotiation, but it's prompted us to negotiate with the SantaCan company. And I think we might be able to get them to discount it heavily, but that'll be it's going to add a couple $1,000s we haven't had to spend in the past onto the bill, but we'll make it work.
That may be worth thinking about being the support level the next time around, because it generates so much goodwill and money in the community. Would have 3,000 runners and their families come?
Yeah. Well, hopefully next year will be well over 4,000. We'll see what the final tally is tomorrow.
Absolutely. Any questions?
Just a fun comment for your last slide. We're working really hard to get that event here, and it would be at Chambers, but we're trying to get it on this.
It'll be our equipment. Yeah. It'll be our equipment.
Yeah.
And our lodging facility.
Yeah. I mean, and as I said last year on this, the ecosystem, the partnership, the synergy between this event and what the development we've put in at Chambers, to not to compete with each other, but to make Pierce County a cross-country superpower in the Northwest it is growing. I mean, you see it in these numbers. You see it. I mean, we have 6 new events, in the region, and we're going to get that D1 championship here. It's coming. So
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, our running joke is that they picked the Tri-Cities because they just wanted to make it painful for everybody.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the Tri-Cities is you can usually count on good weather.
Yeah.
There's always usually better sunshine over there for the runners.
But the West Side Classic has been sunny the last 3 years. It really has been nice.
Yeah. That's great. Well, good for you guys. I'm very thankful that you're doing it. That's great.
Yeah, well, thank you for your time and listening to the presentation.
Very good.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
And I hear you knocked out all the parks in advance.
Boom.
Well done.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. How about Lakewood Chamber? Do you want to get the rest of it here, Linda? Then we would only have 3 left, right?
Yeah. And if we get them in, oh, Ren, yeah.
Okay, great.
Swipe the screen, it goes to the account.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
For government. Like,
City phone, Auburn phone. Okay.
I'm strange that way. Well, hello again. For the record, Linda Smith, Lakewood Chamber of Commerce. Great to see you all again. This is our proposal for 2025, and we would love to be able to continue serving as your local DMO, Destination Marketing Organization. Okay, I clicked, and why aren't you working? There we go.
Oh, I like that. It's curtains.
Ta-da. Okay. So our objectives would be to stay focused on individual consumer travel into 2025 and continuing to serve as Lakewood's lead destination marketing organization, focusing on individual and family travelers, driving to Lakewood to overnight, shop, dine, and tour the area through combined efforts of our lodging, restaurants, attractions, and retailers. Lakewood offers the ideal getaway destination that offers a good stretch of value for the dollar, encouraging hub and spoke tours. And we'll continue to offer more reasons for visiting Lakewood and to extend their stay once they're here. Our focus market is Seattle North, Eastern Washington, Idaho, and Portland South. Now, we all know about inflation. We all know that people are not traveling as much to further distances, but people are continuing to travel more frequently, shorter visits, and hitting communities that are nearby or states that are nearby. So we anticipate individual travelers will take these kinds of road trips into 2025. Some of our responsibilities would include maintaining the operations of the Visitor Information Center. We are open 7 days a week with the exception of federal holidays. We will continue to create and distribute publications and print materials. And I know that we had talked a little bit about everything's digital, not everything. There are still people that come into our Visitor Information Center and it might be a particular age group, but they do ask for printed maps. They want printed brochures and materials. I'm going to hop up real quick. So we do produce information pocket, if you will, and provide information to our visiting public, whether they are here for a sporting event, whether they're here for reunions or conferences, what have you. We are pretty much out of our centerpieces here. Right now, all we have left is our attractions guide and our events calendar. We went through our restaurant and lodging, and we had one more insert that we include in here, and they will be going into reprint because they're just so popular. So we will be doubling the numbers of our pieces so that we can continue to accommodate the needs of our visiting public. The events calendar is done twice a year. That's spring and summer, and then one for fall and winter. Let's see. Obviously, we'll continue our tourism promotions through social media, Facebook, X, and YouTube, and then produce additional series of Live Like a Local, which is our tourism destination video and advertising campaign for the year. Also, we're looking at producing Lakewood's Best Kept Secrets, short videos that we can run on social media as well, and support our umbrella organizations such as the Tacoma Pierce County Tourism Authority and local attractions and services so that we can provide information when they are looking at hosting or bidding on certain pieces of business. I'm not quite sure why this is. There we go. So of course, our Visitor Information Center is open 7 days a week. This year has been a little bit slow. We've served about 879 visitors through the month of August. And of course, we have a variety of print material, maps, brochures. We also have online assistance, and if anybody needs to get printouts of any information, they can do so in our Visitor Information Center. We also have a video travelogue that features enticing images of places to check out, local restaurants and attractions, and our local businesses. You already have seen our brochures, so there's our central pieces right there. And then, of course, we have a strong presence online as well. For 2024, we had over 103 unique visitors to the Chamber site. Total number of visits, 159,000. And the average visits per month is about 18,500. We also provide a basic attractions and services inventory online. And so if you're looking for accommodations, B&Bs, casinos, if you would like a theater, if you want to shop, if you're looking for kid-friendly activities, you would just go ahead and click onto this information, and we update this regularly. Now, as far as the ASI, or the Attractions and Services Inventory, there's been over 24,000 individual searches since the beginning of the year. And once you click onto any of those, I wonder if I can go back for just a second, any of those boxes of information, it will pull up a more detailed page for you. And so, of course, we have American Lake Park that just, I don't know how I did that, but we clicked on American Lake Park and then it takes you to the full page. And I like the fact that it's got detailed information and hot links that'll take you to there we go. Hot links that'll take you to get detailed information. There is also buttons below where you can share this particular page on social media as well as via email. And then, of course, the Google reviews, which people like to read about and read up on as well. And then we have digital advertising on cable commercial ads as well as social media. We took a different approach this year, and we decided to do 15-second commercials. And that seems to have piqued more interest as far as visits to our website. And we do the same QR code, or a different QR code, but the same formula, if you will, to get people to visit us online. And we've been doing quite well with that.
You have a sample one?
Our 15-second commercial. I'm going to see if I can get us through this real quickly. There we go. Let me see if I can.
There we go.
Let's try that. Oh, no sound?
Over 10%. If it's 15 seconds. Yeah. Cool.
So we ran, I believe, 6 different summer ads and ran them, if you could just glance at some of the cable channels below. They ran continuously from May through August, actually, the first 2 weeks of September. And we're looking at doing a fall campaign as well. We're a little bit behind on that. So the advertising campaign is called Live Like a Local. And so we did produce some drive tour itineraries. And this particular summer publication had over 3,000 visits. Oh, this is the wrong ad. And once again, everything is hot links so that it'll take you directly to where you want to go. And these are downloadable, but this is not the particular piece that I wanted you to see. Then we have our visitor guide and member directory. And once again, this piece will provide you with, of course, typical chamber information, but then we have lots of photography and everything, once again, is hot links, so that it'll take you directly to their website for additional information as well. And this particular publication has, I believe, 3 or 4 drive tour itineraries also included in here. So here is your Live Like a Local summer drive tour piece, and it basically takes you from point A to point B. And this provides people with a hub and spoke type of an opportunity where we encourage them to overnight in Lakewood, and of course promote the attractions and services and retailers and restaurants here in the area. But we obviously take them out and about to Northwest Trek, to Mount Rainier National Park, as well as other venues here in the region. And then we drive them back into Lakewood and encourage them to overnight as well as dine here. There's our foodie road trip. We've had over 5,000 visits on that, and that's just foodie focused. And then this year's concept is Lakewood's Best Kept Secrets. And this is me visiting Los Correros.
Great.
That's it, that's all. Do you have any questions?
I'm just wondering if you were advertising, you were one of Lakewood's best kept secrets in that prior slide.
That's so kind. Thank you.
I just had a question about, folks coming into the chamber, the walking in type folks that are looking for general information. Are you finding that we are seeing out-of-towners come in, or is it a lot of local folks?
Out-of-towners.
That's great.
Yeah, and we get a lot of folks that walk over from the Best Western. So, they're within walking distance, so that's great. But it's interesting how many people actually will track us down, and we do have to talk to our friends in the engineering department about getting a few more signs put up regarding visitor information, because they are tenacious. They find us. Good. And, it's rather circuitous in Lakewood. It's not like we're grid. So they have to be, committed to finding us, and they do. So that's been great. And sometimes people will just stop here on their way to Canada, for example. Our job is to convince them they need to stick around and have pizza or,
Wayfinding signage might be not a bad thought to add to the list of things to do.
Indeed, indeed.
All right, great.
Thank you.
So, who's next? We're going to take a quick break. Okay. We can take that break now. Let's do that. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So do you have the presentation on? Yes. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks. And do I just ask you to flip to the next slide, or? Oh, fabulous. How are you? Good. Yes, please. All of you. I'll invite you all.
Still a few more nights, right? Another week?
3 more weeks.
3 more weeks. Okay.
Yes.
What's that?
Did you see that in your youth?
Did I see it? I was in the community play.
Who did you play?
Oh God, who did I play? This is in Germany, in community theater. Mm-hmm. Name the 2 or 3 of the top ones that I can tell you what.
Lamar, Herb. Thank you so much.
It was 1987, so it's been a while. Yeah.
Which way do I click to go next?
High school 81, in college 85, undergrad, and then I was in the military in Germany. I did theater in high school and college, and then community theater when I was in the Army.
That's amazing. Sorry, where in Germany were you?
A little town called Bamberg.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was there because I toured with a German theater company for 3 years.
Yeah.
So we were based in Willingsen, but we went to schools with English-speaking theater productions.
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was actually pretty good theater. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see if I can see the mouse.
Yeah.
Which one? We did it. I can roll it. Thank you so much. I was practicing at home, but PowerPoint's not my thing. Hi. Thank you for having us here. Thank you for listening to what we're doing over at the Lakewood Playhouse. This year we're focusing there we go. And I was trying to figure out how to kind of bookend this presentation and talk to you about what we want to do. And I think what we really want to do is put Lakewood Playhouse back on the map. And we're thinking locally, nationally, and internationally. Using our mission of building community through theater to really make Lakewood Playhouse and Lakewood Town Center a cultural destination for everyone in the state of Washington and beyond. The first thing before we start, I want to say thank you for your support last year, and particularly thank you for supporting the amazing mural.
Did it get done?
Yes, it is done. It is incredible. Please come over and visit us.
I will.
And we hope that actually beyond the plays that we show and beyond the performing arts that we do, that this mural will actually become a destination for people as well, coming to take pictures of it. And I know Jeremy Gregory is just amazing.
Oh, wow.
And so he was live streaming, putting it on the side of the building. And so there's a lot of talk about it already. And I keep hearing people kind of who drive by ask about it and what happened. And so we want to host conversations about it as well to bring people into the space. And there's Jeremy at work, a Lakewood Playhouse mural designed and painted by Jeremy Gregory, made possible by a City of Lakewood lodging tax grants. Jeremy is also the scenic designer for Godspell. We're really trying to engage artists in our community in as many ways as we possibly can. So you'll see that the design is actually, the mural is actually part of the fabric of this production of Godspell. Each show of the 5 shows this season, we're going to be partnering with a local artist to feature their work in the lobby. This will give them a platform to sell their artwork and expand both the Lakewood Playhouses and the artist's ability to reach new audiences.
That's great.
Our 2025 application, our project activity is focused on Lakewood Playhouse and the journey that we're currently on. We're on a great journey of growth and discovery to help to rebuild the reputation of our beloved Playhouse. We are working to bring back financial responsibility and stability to the organization. The current leadership team inherited a budget which had a $115,000 deficit in that budget approved by the board. In order to do this, we are developing a robust individual donor campaign, seeking out a wide range of grants, building new partnerships, are in the midst of targeting an intentional season subscription acquisition campaign. Brooklyn Peterson just entered the building, our box office and company manager. We are working together to reach out to every single ticket holder for Godspell and call them and say, would you like to become a subscriber? You'll get a 25% discount if you turn this single ticket into a season subscription. So that's something that Brooklyn and I have kind of cooked up to make sure that we're really going for those season subscriptions so that we can support the theater financially. We're really excited about re-engaging our mission to build community through theater with the hope that we will promote the City of Lakewood and Lakewood Town Center and Lakewood Playhouse all at the same time. We have three major focal points for the work that we're doing and for how we're going to rebuild our theater: people, programming, and partnerships. One of the first things that I realized when I arrived was that we needed to center people to rebuild the theater. We held a community forum in my first week here. Since then, we have had community yard sales, community potlucks. We've invited people in to come and watch rehearsals. And every week I host office hours in the lobby of the theater so that people can come in and have a conversation with me about how they think we're doing, if anyone has any concerns, opening the doors so that we're having open conversations with our community. Yesterday, we actually had the Lakewood Town Center and Kaylee come over and she hosted with us the Starbucks, brought over Starbucks coffee and treats for the people that came to visit us at office hours. The next slide will introduce you to some of the people who are collaborating to bring this change about. I already introduced you to Brooklyn. Luke Amundsen was going to be here a little bit later, but isn't here now. And Claudia Guzman, that's our core team that work day to day on bringing the theater back to life. This is our current board. Our board has expanded in numbers, expanded in diversity, expanded in experience. It's very exciting to have these incredible people working with us as we develop new strategies for Lakewood Playhouse. The next slide is of our season directors, our main stage directors, and it is an honor for me to be alongside these amazing women who are bringing theater to life at Lakewood Playhouse. We have 5 shows this year. I'm directing 2 of them. Brittany, Michelle, and Maria Tanya are each directing 1, and it really is an incredible team of people. Michelle is internationally known as a clown and a theater artist. Maria Tanya is the head of drama for UW Tacoma. So there's really an amazing this is an amazing collection of artists who are bringing their talents to help us grow Lakewood Playhouse. One of my most proud moments since I arrived has actually been opening Godspell. This is our creative team and our cast. And I can safely say that Lakewood Playhouse has not had a creative team or cast that is this beautifully, wonderfully talented and diverse in a long time, or maybe ever. This group has come together because we decided that we were not willing to open the season until we got the right people in place to tell this story, people that represented our community. And at our opening night talkback, we all kind of sat together on the stage, and I had shared that there have been times when I've walked with the staff outside or stood outside, looked around Lakewood Sound Center and said, until this theater, its audience, its patrons, its board of directors, its staff, and its artists look like Lakewood Town Center, we are not doing our job to build community through theater. And so this Godspell is the first step in that mission. Programming. The 86th season has been called the most compelling and diverse season of any theater in the Pacific Northwest. I have visited theaters from Olympia to Seattle, and when Lakewood Playhouse is mentioned, when I'm introduced to people saying this is Joe, he's the new person at Lakewood Playhouse, everybody mentions how excited they are. The response has consistently been how excited people are for our season and that it's new and it's fresh. Our focus is on using bold and exciting programming to retain our current audiences while attracting new patrons and supporters and building ticket subscriptions. Season 86 artwork. This is our current season, which we are very proud of. I know last year there was talk about our rebrand, and our rebrand is wonderful. We wanted to take another step in our rebrand, which is using that Lakewood Playhouse logo, which is now consistent and recognizable, and bringing color and life to it. Kevin James, who designed this group of posters, we decided we wanted sky. We wanted to be able to show hope to our community. We wanted to bring back vibrancy. We wanted it to be eye-catching, and also little Easter eggs within some of these posters. The For Colored Girl poster actually has Entasaka Shenge in it. She's the image on the left. She's the playwright. And if you look carefully at the Spitfire Girl, which I'll talk about in a second, the image in the back, which is called the Spitfire Girl, is actually Lakewood Playhouse. So it's a little Easter egg that's fun for us that put it together. Each of the plays that we're doing this year examines the theme of community and has been intentionally chosen to attract new audience and artists who have not been served by the Playhouse in the past. partnerships. We're currently, we certainly know that we are stronger together as a community, and we are building robust partnerships with other members of our community. Partnerships that are already underway are partnerships with Lakewald Gardens, the Museum of Glass, Clover Park High School, Thomas Murasato Studios, Tacoma Urban Performing Arts Center, the Youth Thespian Collective, Circle Up Productions, Tacoma Youth Symphony, Ghostlight Theatricals, Paper Dragon Productions UK, Rainier Scholars, and Florida Theatrical Association. These are all in-work partnerships which have work either currently being presented or coming to the Playhouse in the not too distant future. We've hosted an event for Lakewood Rotary, and Lakewood and Clover Park Rotary will be coming on a joint event to come and enjoy Godspell and have a talk back with us.
When is that?
That is the 27th. And then Lakewood Lutheran Church is bringing around 100 people on the 28th. To Godspell. And we're having multiple conversations right now about partnering with different local organizations. Tacoma Urban Performing Arts Center is interested in becoming a community partner for Colored Girls. And so we're really trying to invest in our community and bring more people into the conversations that these plays are inspiring. One of the exciting partnerships that we brought was Ghostlight Theatricals and Florida Theatrical Association helped us to produce Breaking Our Mold, a cabaret series. We brought Cherry Gonzalez and Safine Kareem in from Florida, and local legend Sherry O'Hare from the Tacoma area. She actually lives in Lakewood. And this was a cabaret where each of these three performers told stories about their career, told stories about what it was like to be them, to center themselves, and what it was like to break their mold in a very rigid industry-like theater. We are hoping to find more artists that will come and develop a 45-minute cabaret directed by myself, music directed by Safine, to present at Lakewood Playhouse. And also we're working with Larry at Florida Theatrical Association to fly the artists to Florida and do the same performance at Lakewood Playhouse in Orlando, Florida. So that's one of our goals for the not too distant future. Productions, our 86th season, stories about community. So this is a strange thing, right? Our season and the grants follow different cycles. So this grant will cover the last 3 shows of season 86 and the first 2 shows of season 87. So this will be covering the Laramie Project, the first regional production since 2016. The Laramie Project tells the story of Matthew Shepard, who was murdered in Laramie, Wyoming for being gay. We wanted to bring a story about community and the complexity of what it's like when a community is going through tragedy and trauma together. The story is beautiful. It has a lot of hope and humor in it, even though it's a very difficult subject matter. That will be followed by Working, which is an adaptation of the Studs Terkel novel. This will be one of our teen educational productions. What's exciting about this production is actually a localized version. So the teens will go into Lakewood Town Center. They will interview people who work in Lakewood Town Center, and those stories will be put into the show as part of the fabric of the storytelling, which is really exciting and a way to put us back on the map and make sure people know that we're here. I'm then very excited. Michelle Matlock, who directed The Niceties at the end of last season, is returning to direct for Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. This is an amazing classic, brilliant American writing by Ntozake Shange, centered entirely on the stories of women of color, Black women. It is a choreo poem, it is dance and poetry, and I am so excited. We think it might be the first production that's ever happened in this era ever. So we're very excited about that. The end of this season will be the Spitfire Grill. Godspell is about inviting people back in, about people coming back in and building community. The Spitfire Grill is about what not-for-profit should be. The Spitfire Grill is based on a film, and the film is about an older woman who can't run her grill anymore, and so she decides to gift it to someone. And basically the end of the story is that she gifts it back to these 2 women who have helped her run it, and gives it back to the community. And so everything that we're doing from now until the end of this season is about rebuilding Lakewood Playhouse so that we can put it where it belongs, back in the hands of our community. And this is a metaphorical message where the whole play is surrounding that, which we're very excited about. Now the next titles we don't have rights for yet because it's next season. Sorry. There we go. Which it's next season, so those rights will come in the new year. And I'm not sure if some of these are available or not because The Wiz was just on Broadway, but we're hoping to open next season, which will be about home, family, and belonging with a production of The Wiz. And then for Christmas, bringing a reimagined production of Annie to the stage at Lakewood Playhouse to serve our community. Audience statistics. The following slides show our audience profile based on sales for 2024-2025 season. I want to be very clear. This means it's only 4.5 months of ticket sales. The growth in these statistics filled me with hope as to what this will look like by the end of this season. Within Pierce County, we bring in visitors to Lakewood from all over the place. 65% of our audience come in from outside of the city of Lakewood. As far as county is concerned, 90% of tickets are sold within Pierce County and then 10% from other neighboring counties. However, I'm seeing a lot of conversation about Lakewood Playhouse further beyond when I go and visit other theaters. And we have visitors coming into Lakewood Playhouse from all over the country, which is very exciting. Just in the past 4.5 months, we've sold tickets to patrons from Arizona, California, Florida, Massachusetts, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. And fun fact, our farthest customer comes from New South Wales and Australia, 7,659 miles away. And you can be sure that's a head in the bed. Season subscriptions. So I'm just trying to get to the next slide. There we go. Season subscriptions this year are already up by 40%. Single tickets for Godspell have actually exceeded. This is a slide that was sent 2 days ago. In the past 2 days, we've actually exceeded our single ticket goal. Our Godspell run has been extended. And August 2024 was Lakewood Playhouse's first profitable month in over a year. Yay. This is what the audience is saying about Godspell. Go see Godspell Lakewood Playhouse. We were absolutely blown away. The ensemble storytelling, the use of space, and the pure joy we felt literally the entire time. Wow. A stunning show. This ensemble of actors and creatives are so beautifully connected and sync with each other. The direction was truly astonishing. Feels weird for me to say that. And the storytelling, remember, was just incredible. Go see this show. One of the most exciting things is the relationship we've built with Shauna Vincent, who was kind of dragged into the theater by a friend for The Giver back in December. And she openly said to Chris Blunt, the president, and I, that she did not want to come to Lakewood Playhouse. She did not want to come and see the show. And then the next day we got a very long email, which had included the following. I have sent the bottom quote, I have been in Washington since 2017, yet on Friday night after seeing this play was the first time I felt like I was part of the community. I've sent that quote to every stakeholder at Lakewood Playhouse and said, this is our goal. This is our North Star, and someone outside of ourselves has told us what our mission is, and let's continue to do this. Our education programming. Lakewood Playhouse Education Department is in the black for the first time in over 12 months as well. This has happened due to continuing to rebuild and expand our education program, increase student involvement from a larger footprint, and bringing teaching artists from a wider area with increased profile. This is everyone who has taught for Lakewood Playhouse this year, or since we reopened education in February, is accounted for in this photo. And I think it is a beautiful, a tangible reminder of what we're doing at Lakewood Playhouse and the strides that we are making. Safin Karim on the bottom left is a student at NYU Steinhardt School of Music and flew out. He came to do his cabaret at such a great time. He asked if he would come out and teach this summer. So he came and lived in my spare room and taught Annie Jr. Looking forward, our goal is to make Lakewood Playhouse a cultural ambassador for our community and a desired destination for theater lovers and enthusiasts alike. We will continue to diversify our programming and team opportunities. We're working to create dinner and show packages and show and stay packages, which we think will help us, local business. It also will help us to be able to really put into numbers the impact that we're making on the economy in Lakewood, Washington. New marketing strategies are coming out every day to attract audiences from further afield. Since my arrival, I've unpacked 3 key principles with our board and leadership teams that have served as guidance on how we transition our mission from words to actions. They are culture over policy, people over profit, and process over product. Continuing to focus on culture, people, and process will lead to a fiscally responsible and stable organization for years to come. Finally, again, thank you for taking the time and considering our proposal and for truly all of your support thus far. You have all been so helpful and welcoming to me and the Playhouse and the changes that we're making. So you're very much appreciated.
Well, thank you. Questions? I have a couple, if you don't have any. Thank you. So Joe, thank you. Your enthusiasm certainly is infectious. So help me understand, so we've got an ask this year that's 3 times what it was last year, roughly. Yes. So tell me what we're focused on with that.
Great. So this is almost like restarting a not-for-profit organization from the beginning, having carried over $115,000 deficit from the previous year. We have actually been able to fill that gap through efficiencies and through our mild profit that we've been making. This is really an investment in the next stage of Lakewood Playhouse that we need to be able to continue doing what we're doing. We also think that the added funds will allow us to build more staff so that we can continue to do the work that we're doing and add on to it. We're 3 people who are building on a day-to-day basis, 4 when we have performances on, up to 5 in people that come in and run box office. So it's a very small staff doing a lot of things. So we're looking at industry standard. My title's recently been changed to producing artistic director instead of managing artistic director, in the hopes that at some point when we truly become stable, we'll be able to hire either a general manager, right, or a business manager or facilities manager to be able to support the work that we're doing.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about, and I know we're not talking capital at all.
Yes.
But the building, one thing that I was really happy to help provide extra resources for last year was the face with the mural, which I think is great. Now I'm wondering about the signage, whether something that would be more visual might be of help to you.
Absolutely. It's funny, the breadth of our job. Last week on opening night of Godspell, Brooklyn and I were on the roof trying to get into that sign to see if we could change the light bulbs to make it glow again. And what's interesting, and I assumed the capital conversation would come up, right? Because I think it is really important. Our ship is still, right, we're still taking in water, right? We are not stable yet. And every day is a surprise. I can describe the last 8 months of my life, to be very honest, like Pandora's box.
Right.
Everything that I opened, there was another thing, and we were lost somewhere else in another labyrinth.
Right.
Including, right, we've just had 2 brand new designers to Lakewood Playhouse come in to do Godspell. And the lighting rig, the lights have all been hung we're ruining very expensive lighting instruments because of the way they were hung and the way they're being powered. Sound is not up to par. So we're really just trying to get ourselves to be functional as a theater or functional as a performing arts space before we start to dream about what that capital looks like.
Right. Okay. I get it. I'm thinking on the marketing side, kind of like we got the mural money. I'm just thinking if there's something that could be done for the marketability of the facility with some help with the signage.
Yes, I think we need to figure out. We're trying, as I said, our income has been modest. So whatever the cost of bringing the light bulbs to that sign, right, is something we can't currently cover.
LED or whatever that would just give you some glow out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's changing, right? More when we first spoke, right? When, even the first time I got my hair cut over across from the Target, right? The woman said, "I've never heard of Lakewood Playhouse. Where is it?" And I said, "It's out the door." And then this time, she said, "Oh yeah, Lakewood Playhouse. It's over there. Is it open?" So I thought, okay, step in the right direction.
Right, exactly.
And I'll leave some of this for you as well. I think our marketing has become a little bit more eye-catching and really trying to lean into these beautiful images so that every show has its own identity. And the more consistent we become with how our look, I think it's interesting, these 5 shows are very different, but you can tell they're at the same theater.
Yep, absolutely.
And so that was important as people recognize the new brand that is Lakewood Playhouse.
Very good. Well, good. Any other questions? Great. Well, before you leave, I'll chat with you. Any other presenters here right now, or do we have a break time? With Bryn. Well, she can wait for 3 minutes. So, all right, great. Why don't we go off for a minute? Okay, welcome. We're back on.
All right. Well, I will be brief because I know I am probably standing between you and lunch, and you guys have been going at it since this morning. So, good afternoon or almost afternoon. I'm Bryn Grimley. I'm the communications manager for the city of Lakewood, and I want to thank you guys for this opportunity to present this morning, and then also thank you for last year's recommendations for funding. So what I'm going to go through today is just a look at what we were able to do with the money that we were awarded last year, and just a little historical perspective for our application process. Let me just figure out where my mouse is going. Oh. I clicked and it didn't want to go. Oh, there we go. Okay. So our project goal is the same as it was the last couple of years, which is to promote our city's events using the Nearcation brand consistent with the goals of our city council. And these are not every single event that the city puts on, but some of our more large scale events that we know are going to draw a crowd outside of the city's residency. So for example, obviously Summerfest is our largest event that we put on every year. Back in 2023, we know that we had at a minimum 33,000 people, probably closer to 40,000 people that attended, most of those being from outside of our smaller radius and coming in from other areas. This year, what we're doing is, in addition to the Summerfest promotions, we also promoted our recent Fiesta de la Familia, which was on September 7th. So I just got those stats actually yesterday. I'll run through some of that marketing information, as well as we just launched, I believe either today or yesterday, our Truck and Tractor Day, because that always draws a good crowd as well. I think I'm apparently confused by looking at it. So here's a little history for you all. In 2021 and 2022, we leveraged our existing partnership that we had with outside marketing firm Hemisphere Design and Marketing to create the Nearcation brand. And that came about during COVID, so it was more of a staycation concept. In 2023, we sort of evolved it and merged it more into a let's really market Summerfest, because Summerfest is a huge draw. We've been doing it for a very long time, and we can do more to market it outside of the South Sound. So last year, we were able to hit 1.2 million ad impressions, and we had nearly 59,000 clicks to the Nearcation.com Summerfest page specifically. This year, with the money that you awarded us, we focused on creating new Summerfest swag. So there's some photos of some of the examples of what we did. So we did vinyl stickers, we did magnets, we did a Frisbee, we did the backpacks, and those were all used as giveaways in advance of the event to promote it and to let people know about it. We also produced 2 radio ads that ran on the iHeartRadio channels. We had 3 videos that resulted in a combined, again, 1.2 million ad impressions across YouTube and Meta. We had nearly 31,000 new users and, again, more than 59,000 visits. So we actually did see an uptick in both website visits as well as video ad impressions, and it even ran about 10 days shorter than the prior year. So we're continuing to grow that momentum of awareness for the Summerfest activities. So just a quick glance, last year we were awarded $75,000. That money was divided between the Summerfest marketing and just the Nearcation in general. So the dedicated Summerfest monies went to what I just showed you, the ad buys, the swag, marketing, all of that. The other funding is going toward the current promotions that we're running now, the ones we did for Fiesta de la Familia. And for 2025, we're requesting $80,000, and I'll go over here shortly why we asked for that increase and what we hope to do with the money. Quick review of the beneficiaries, those who will benefit from this. Again, that positive professional marketing benefits the city, the residents, the businesses. It's showing people who and what Lakewood really is, encouraging them to come here. In addition to obviously promoting our events when they come to the Nearcation website, there's other pages on there that talk about our parks, hiking gardens, other attractions that you can do while you're here. And the idea too is hopefully people will come down here, see what a great city we have. And hey, if you have a business here, why not bring it too while you're at it? Stay here. So for Summerfest 2024, a quick look at our numbers. Again, those are the total ad impressions that we had. So over 1.2 million ad impressions. That's across both YouTube and the Meta platforms of Facebook and Instagram. Overall, we had almost 1 million views of the videos themselves. with an 82% view rate on YouTube, which is really high. That's, I think the year before we maybe had 75%, which also felt really great. So to get up to 82 was even better. We kept the videos short and sweet. They were between 15 and 30 seconds because unfortunately that is the attention span that we have these days. And then though the result of that was the total clicks to Nearcation. So I'm going to try and play one of the videos, if I can get the mouse over the play button. So you can just see an example of some of the marketing that we did.
Where's that a picture of? Is that?
That's a drone shot of Fort Slocum Park.
Got it.
And there's music and then there's a voiceover that's going on right now. But basically it's a quick ad just showing, and those are filmed. That was from the 2023 event. So part of our funding from the year prior went to pay for the advertising, the videography. And we did that again this year. We had a drone pilot out there, had a videographer out there, got some video that we'll be using to promote next year's event. And they'll be actually coming as well to Truck and Tractor Day. And we had them at Fiesta de la Familia. Oh, and now, of course, it's playing. Additional, on top of just the events, we also have done again this year the Fort Slocum Invitational, which is actually happening tomorrow at Fort Slocum Park. So a few weeks ago, we sent out through the event organizers, which is the Lakes Cross Country and the Lakes Boosters. On the right-hand side here, that's a PDF that went to them. It has additional information for them about, hey, if you're coming here for the weekend, stay at our hotels. Why don't you come play? You're probably bringing siblings. Go check out these other opportunities while you're here. Here's a great place to eat with your team. And then as you can see on the left page, that's a screen grab of what the actual website page looks like. So it's a dedicated web page specifically for the event that we shared with the event participants. So if they didn't want to go to the PDF, they could also just click the hyperlink and it'll take them right to that page, which then links out to all the other things that people can do and see when they're here for the weekend. So here's a look at our goals for 2025, and this also supports the increased costs that we're asking for. So we've come to realize that we need to do a little bit of a refocus, and we're starting that a little bit this year with our promoting of our other events. So we stepped up some promotions this year for Fiesta de la Familia, and then we're doing Truck and Tractor Day. I think next year we'd like to see more push on our summer nights at the Pavilion Concert Series, as well as the Farmers Market, and then continue with the Truck and Tractor Day and Fiesta de la Familia, in addition to, of course, continuing the Summerfest promotions. And then what we've seen this year is we do have some pages on nearcation.com that do really well. American Lake is one of them. So people are Googling and it's showing up, what to do on American Lake or that. So we'll use the analytics from the website, see where people are going and continue to bolster those pages and make sure that that information is up to date, as well as maybe pushing some advertising out around that. And then with that, of course, is maintaining that presence of hotels, restaurants, and the other activity pages that people can explore.
Is this linked to the city's website or just kind of hyperlinked somehow?
Yeah, it's, well, we advertise it separately, but we do have links to it, and it also links back to the city's site. So they're all interconnected. But we do market it through the City of Lakewood social media channels. It's just that because they're paid ad buys, they're not showing up on our page as far as like what you would see. Like if you went to our Facebook page right now, or Instagram account, you wouldn't see Nearcation related stuff because it's a separate brand, but our accounts are being used to market it. So if the ad were to show up in your feed, like for example, I got a number of the Fiesta de la Familia. I live outside of the radius, and I got a Fiesta de la Familia ad in my personal Instagram that came up from the city, but it was the Nearcation marketing. And then it took people to the Nearcation page. And then this is a picture of the Truck and Tractor Day, just a screen grab of the top half of that website. So you can see when people get that ad, they can click it and it'll take them there so that they can learn all they need to know about the event. And so we want to just refocus a little bit more of the website, work with the marketing team to, do that ad development and have the site, really use those analytics to get itself in front of people. And then for Summerfest specifically, after talking about this year's promotions, we determined that it's time to begin a little bit of a refresh of the brands. You can see the sun. We introduced that this year as a sticker, and we're kind of slowly maybe making that migration, just changing things up a little bit. We've done the same look and design for the last 2 years. It wouldn't be a complete overhaul, but it's time to kind of refresh so that next year when people see it, they'll still have the recognition, but it'll catch their attention again and hopefully, get them looking at it. So with that is exploring a little bit of the brand refresh. What does that look like? How far do we want to go? Creating those videos. So similar to what I just showed you, those videos that are going to be quick, they're going to get attention, and they're done at a high quality with the footage that we got from this year's event. Again, creating the swag like we did this year, looking at how was that swag used? How was it deployed? Did people like it? Do we need to do more? Do we need to do less? Kind of taking a look at those numbers, and then just the creation of the new advertising. And that is my presentation. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? I guess I have just a question about, obviously we can't calculate with precision heads and beds necessarily, but we know that we get them. The other piece is really economic development, or the economic activity rather. So you bring in 25 to 40,000 folks, have a wonderful time at a free event. Do we have any sort of data that reflects how much is spent on the vendors or stuff in the surrounding community, restaurants and stuff?
Unfortunately, we don't have a way to track that. There are services that you can purchase. So I know, actually the reason why I know we had 33,000 people at our 2023 event was because I sat in on a sales pitch for one of those platforms. And I'm like, oh, hey, could you look up this date for me? And I was like, sweet, could you look up this date? So I got some tallies of park visitors on the days where we had events. But it's a pretty significant cost. And I know Travel Tacoma had been looking at doing that. And we've gotten data from them, but it's more money than we have to spend for really those type of analytics. Right. While they're very interesting and they would be really beneficial, I don't know that getting that would justify the cost it would take to purchase that from them.
Do you use any of those kinds of tools?
We do, and we don't quite have the step to get to this one yet. We work really closely with Brent on this.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do right now is work out a bundle package that we can share countywide. Because of that, it is a big lift for anybody, including us.
Yeah.
And it's we've got a lot, but we don't have it at that level yet. So yeah,
hopefully it is helpful. From a policy and investment standpoint to figure out how we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. People love it, which is a good thing in and of itself. But we throw a lot of money at it to give everyone a freebie. We don't charge for parking. We don't charge for insurance. We don't charge anything for people to have a good time, and hopefully there's some investment in the community.
And I will say, just from the presentation that I sat in, there is, they showed where did they go next, and a lot of people went to the local businesses, which I thought was interesting because I'm like, you're at the farmers, or you're at the Summerfest where you should be buying the food, right? But like people did go eat, or they went to like Dutch Brothers, or they went to this place, or they went to other locations in Lakewood, and then you could see where they went from there, where they went out from there. So, so anecdotally, I mean, at least for 2023, we could see that based on the presentation we were given. But yeah, I mean, the cost is just insane for this software that, we would really only be using a handful of times. But I think you could also argue a lot of the folks that are at our events are local business owners that are benefiting, right? So they're either restaurant owners with food trucks, or they're, small business owners that are benefiting from that increase. So we are helping them in that way. But yeah, we don't have the stats to really be able to say this resulted in X, Y, Z.
I get it. I just look at the Puyallup Fair and how they just make oodles of money just on parking.
Yes.
Oodles and oodles of money on parking. So anyway, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
it. Thank you guys very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Oh, and just really quick. I forgot. I just rattle off the ads for Fiesta because I said I would. So we only did 13 days of advertising and we had 421,000 impressions.
Oh, good.
And that was just 10 ads that ran across the Meta platform. So it was a pretty good turnaround for a short amount of time that really got those ads. And honestly, we saw a huge spike in people outside of the area who were really excited. And then we also partnered with the Mexican consulate where they promoted our event on their Mexam Northwest Festival page. So seen a lot of good just awareness about some of the things we're doing here in the city. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Lived at 6504 94th Street Southwest, just close to the little church on the prairie. Went to Custer School from kindergarten to third grade. They built Dower. My friends who lived on 93rd Street went to Dower. I went to Park Lodge. Met back at Hutloff, and then they built Lockburn. I was first class at Lockburn too. From I think it followed 1967 to 68. Went on to Clover Park High School, graduated there. Married a gal from Franklin Pierce High School, and didn't live in Lakewood, but we still lived in Lakewood. And my three daughters, one went to Clover Park, the other two went to Lakes. So
there you go. History.
This is also Sue Scott, and she's a Lakes High School graduate.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Quite a good one.
Okay.
So
here we go. So it's in front of you.
Next.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, yeah, we are still growing. We have more programs, more events. We've done with some interesting stuff on the Titanic. We've done movies. We've had other get-togethers. And what was interesting about the Titanic, though, is we had one of the gals that gave a presentation, had been in the submergibles, and knew some of the people that were down in that submergible that actually expanded. And a little bit of history about something like that is they have what's called fracture critical parts. When we used to work at the Boeing company, if a part was fracture critical and it went, that could take a whole airplane down. And a lot of the times, something like this, that they do cycles on those. So there's, after so many cycles, you automatically change that out. And I don't know what was happening on the submergible, but it was quite interesting to see somebody who had been in one, because they built them up in Everett, Washington. But also we have, unfortunately, the cost of living is going up. Next. And there I am on the far left Lakewood Theater. And at the Lakewood Theater, I used to go there as a little kid. And I still say my favorite movie, and we're going to show it one of these days, maybe for Veterans Day, is Sink to Bismarck, starring Kenneth Moore and Diane Winter. 1960, and it was so cool. And you probably remember the Johnny Horton song, Sink to Bismarck. It was really cool. But we're out here in front of the Lakewood Theater, and we'd love to see it restored. But I think the cost we've had, Sue, I think we've talked about it, is probably between $1 and $3 million, because you need to bring it up to 2024 standards or 2025 standards down the road. That's something we're looking at. So, and then
now, this is when we started our renovation, the restoration. This was in the dining room. Which is next. It's now our main display area, putting new flooring and paint and etc. Next. Ben and Willard still visit, unfortunately, but the owners keep trying and have Sprague come in. Next. So this is our banner at the front of when you enter into the Historical Society, and that's below, that's Le Chute for welcome. Next. Go ahead.
Okay, see, we've also showed movies. We recently showed a movie with Marlon Brando, and then also with how about John Wayne, the Duke? And it's been pretty cool. We did earlier in the year, went on Amelia Earhart. So, and usually we get anywhere from, say, 20 to 50 people for those, but I'm still pulling for Sink to Bismarck. I want that one to come. But it's been cool because they're clean movies, something you can take your family to, and it does show you days gone by. And I've enjoyed that. You can see this is the back area of the Lakewood Terrace restaurant where we show the movies. And it's been
that was the bar.
That was the bar, yes.
So we have 9 volunteers who do it all on the board. No paid staff, 1 part-time consultant. And we do all the fundraising, marketing, and operate the museum year-round. Right. Next. So there's our key operating expenses. Rent, utilities, marketing, our newsletter, which you have in front of you, our displays and markers. We still working on markers all around Lakewood, and our programs, and that totals $66,000. Next. But here's our estimated income: membership and donations and grants and special events. That's $28K, so minus $66K. Operating equals $38K. Our shortfall is down from last year. And then collections is being completed in 2024. Next. So there's our current goals: host 10 more historical events, place 2 more markers, publish 4 issues of the Prairie Gazette, maintain 300 paid managed memberships, and refresh our exhibits and gain some hotel nights. So we keep the museum, we're keeping the museum open right now, 2 days a week, from noon until 4. Next, go ahead.
I was just going to say too that we do, when we have people sign in to say whether they're staying in one of the local hotels or not. And it's been kind of nice because we've had several people come just recently when I was the docent or the volunteer there that say yes. And I said, well, hey, I used to live a couple blocks over, and I asked them which school they went to or where they're at. And do you remember the old Lakewood Ice Arena? I said, yes, skate your date to the Lakewood Ice Arena. But then, like I say, we did this, we had a tribute to Lieutenant General Harrison, the first Lakewood mayor, yes. And
we have updated traffic building programs. You can't come to us, we'll come to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have a library because, of course, for a long time, Lakewood did not have a library. So we have books there for sale. And we're working on a new mural in the hallway, 17 feet long, tells about the history of Lakewood. It's being worked on now. We got a grant for that. And we also will rent our event space, which we have for a couple of different things, different prices for, daytime, nighttime, bring in, a member has to come and unlock and everything. So we're working on those.
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier that Kathy Lamette, she was been in the submergible and knew the people that actually went down, whether going by the Titanic. But we had a great show there, and it's just like, wow. Because I've seen a couple of the Titanic movies, it's kind of interesting to see somebody that's been in a submergible that knows people that have gone down to that, and then to have this happen, what a tragedy. But yeah, some of our volunteers here. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our docents there, the redhead, and that's, you've got books, we want them. So we've set up for sale, $1 for a hardback, 50 cents for a paperback, and it brings some traffic in too.
Yeah, different type of books. And even I have some 1960 something, maybe 63, 4 or 5 Mad Magazine, type stuff that I've copied. So it can be, it's kind of fun because we talked about the Marlon Brando one and the John Wayne. I was reading about Marlon Brando. He was dating a gal named Jill Banner, who was born in Bremerton, Washington, but she was fortunately killed in an auto accident like in 1982. But and if you ever watch some of the old Dragnet TV shows, she was on those, a couple of them. But the Duke was phenomenal in that. And he always said, don't ever apologize. I don't know why, but that's what he said in that particular movie.
There's the Tensler exhibit, and the curve represents the big one.
The tree that was at
the tree that they moved, that fortunately the city of Lakewood is moving out to the park, which we appreciate because we didn't have enough room for it at the museum.
We didn't have much of a window.
Yeah, the money.
But it's neat.
There was only one street festival this year. Last year there had been 3 or 4, but we did draw in over 100 visitors. So it does make a difference to us when there are festivals out on Motor Avenue.
Yeah, it was fun to talk with some of the people there. I talked to a guy that knew the 1976 Olympic discus champion, Mac Wilkins, that went to Clover Park for 2 years and moved down to Beaverton, Oregon area and was at the University of Oregon. And then, like I say, was the 1976 discus champion. So he says, yeah, Mac was up here to one of his recent reunions. It'd be kind of, see if we can get him sometime to come visit.
And we're continuing with our markers. This one was placed at Woodbrook this year and one at the Bird Cemetery. And Glenn is working on more. And there shows one of our events. We can seat about 70 people in there, and we have drawn that many. So, and of course, there was our Christmas program, and of course, with Ivan. Ivan is still a big draw. People want to see Ivan and have their picture taken with Ivan. So it's fun. All this plus collections part 2 for $38,000. That's what we're asking for, $38,000.
Down from last year. And once again, it is your We want to stress that it's your Lakewood Museum for the people that live in Lakewood, even for not, because people have moved and what have you, but it's kind of fun to come back and reflect on how things have changed from the Villa Plaza to the Lakewood Mall to Lakewood Town Center to other items. And it's just, where was this place or that? And so, well, yeah, I know that.
Remember, this is your history museum.
And like I say, we're preserving yesterday and educating for tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it and good work. And nothing much happens in this community without the strength of our volunteers. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be over the weekend, I'm sure. Appreciate it. Take care.
Okay. Thanks again.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. In lieu of waiting the additional time for the Sister Cities representative to come and make a physical presentation, we do have their written application for the fiscal year 2025 lodging tax grant funding. And they're seeking $23,500. As indicated in the application materials, they plan on using the projected funds in the following way: $10,500 for 15 to 17 international and local themed entertainment groups, which is an increase due to the additional hours the International Festival stage will be open, and I assume that's for Summerfest. $6,300 for contract services, supplies, administration, $3,500 for general marketing, and $3,200 for a professional sound system, presumably for the international stage work. So, without checking with the Parks Department on what current sound system capabilities we have that would be utilized by anybody there, including Lakewood Sister City Association. It's hard to say what the sound system would be used for differently, but I'm not completely adverse to that. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I'm not adverse either. And if we wanted, we could even just simply state that should the parks have something that satisfies that and they don't need it, that could be removed, that component. So
okay,
but we would vote to approve the full. But if the staging was sufficient, then the sound was sufficient rather.
Got it.
Yeah.
The only other thing, it's interesting, on page 14 of the application, they talk about funding history. And of course, they were funded last year. And the question is, how much funding did they receive in 2024? She writes $23,950. I don't think that's correct. Is it, Dana, for 24? I think they received something less than that in 2024. I just want to verify that. That's what I see. Sure. So I just wanted to verify. The application indicates they received funding in 2024 in the amount of $23,950, and I don't think that's accurate. I think that no, shouldn't it just be on our list of awards for 2024?
Yeah, so the question is,
how much were they awarded in 24?
24,
they were. Okay, so their ask for 25 is not increased. Is what they got. So it's not a big jump. So that makes me more comfortable. And the sound system may be rental. Yeah. Okay. Does that help, committee members? All right. So in light of that, this is our opportunity now. We fully have either received both the written applications and in all cases but the one, a physical presentation in support of the applications for the 2025 lodging tax grant funding. So any questions, comments, concerns?
None that we didn't cover within.
Do I have a motion to approve or at least recommend to the City Council approval of the entirety of the 2025 request for lodging tax grant funds totaling, and I believe the total amount is $1,247,850.
1,247,850,
I believe. Is that correct, Dana?
Good.
So I just want to double check the math, and if I'm not speaking in the mic, I'll do it here. The total funding request, the motion would be to approve the total applications for 2025 in the amount of $1,247,850, which includes $101,850 in capital for McGavick Center. Okay.
I will make a motion.
Very good.
Make a motion to approve. Yes.
Seconded.
It's been moved by Member Burke, seconded by Member Smith, that we approve for recommendation to the City Council the entirety of the funding requests for the 2025 LTAC grant funds in the amount of $1,146,000 for non-capital and $101,850 for capital, for a total funding request recommendation of $1,247,850. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The funding request recommendation has been adopted. It will now move forward to the City Council. And at this time, any further comments by members of the committee? If not, then we're adjourned.